Chapter 2060. Exhaling, Night Sorrow activated 96% of his void attribute Heaven and Earth Grand Momentum. After the Heaven and Earth law sensed Night Sorrow's aura, the lightning tribulation was formed and began to bombard Night Sorrow. With the virtuous immortal body protecting him, Night Sorrow brandished his samsara halberd and clashed with the lightning tribulation. Night Sorrow was transcending the tribulation in his peak state. In addition, many of his attributes were saturated. The violent bombardment of the lightning tribulation did not hurt Night Sorrow. Instead, it made his aura soar. The heavenly Tao lightning tribulation was extremely violent. The troops of the 3 divisions at Broken Mountain were alarmed. Everyone could even see Night Sorrow using his spear and fist techniques to clash with the lightning tribulation in the air. Long Jean, Brother 13 doesn't take the lightning tribulation seriously. From the looks of it, he seems to be excited, said Tianyu. The heavenly Tao Emperor tribulation is very violent and has destroyed many cultivators. However, those who are eliminated are cultivators with high cultivation and low abilities. In other words, those who do not have the combat strength to match their realm will die if they come into contact with the heavenly Tao Emperor tribulation. But what about your commander? His combat strength exceeds his realm. Therefore, he is qualified to clash with the heavenly Tao Emperor tribulation, said the Golden Dragon King. After transcending the heavenly Tao 6 tribulations with the void attribute, Night Sorrow activated the destruction attribute. Apart from the limitless attribute, Night Sorrow's other 3 attributes advanced together. They were all at the peak of the heavenly Tao 5 tribulations and could break through to the heavenly Tao 6 tribulations. The high end of his attributes was also the difficult part for Night Sorrow to cultivate the heavenly sword art. Yi Tianxin created the heavenly sword art from the low level. She was of the destruction attribute and also cultivated other general attributes. Her ultimate technique began to communicate with the energy of heaven and earth with the general attributes. However, Night Sorrow could not do this. Night Sorrow did not have any general attributes and directly cultivated from the high-level attributes. Therefore, it was more difficult. He started with the spatial attribute that he was more proficient in. Only then did he have some clues. Night Sorrow also didn't have the intention to cultivate the general attributes, because he didn't need it. He was not willing to do things that would waste time and neglect the essentials. He felt that even if it took a little effort, he had to walk this path. The middle stage of the heavenly sword technique was a high-level attribute that could attract the energy of heaven and earth. It was a path that he had to walk sooner or later. When Lin Piaomiao appeared at the stronghold of Broken Mountain on Reincarnation Island with the child in her arms, Night Sorrow's time and space attribute lightning tribulation was nearing its end. What is he doing? Lin Piaomiao looked at the baby in swaddling clothes and then looked at the peak of Broken Sky Mountain. He's so excited that he's bombarding the heavenly Tao's tribulation lightning, said Sikong Chuyu with a smile. This little guy's eyes are really bright. The Grand Elder said as he looked at the child in Lin Piaomiao's arms. Innately opened meridians, rich bloodline energy, attributes. Elder Lin, this is a good seedling. The Golden Dragon was only halfway through his sentence when Night Sorrow returned. Night Sorrow's aura rippled as his eyes shone. He was truly in high spirits. Let me carry him. Night Sorrow laughed as he took the child in Lin Piaomiao's arms. Night Sorrow lowered his head to look at the child. The child chuckled and even reached out to grab Night Sorrow's chin. His small hands are strong. Night Sorrow looked at the child with a smile on his face. Name? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Name? I haven't thought of it yet. Night Sorrow was stunned. Think of it now. Lin Piaomiao glared at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow laughed and began to think. When he turned his head to look at Broken Sky Mountain, he saw the half-moon rising from the mountain. He immediately turned his head and said, his arrival made up for my and Piaomiao's regrets. The moon waxes and wanes, but I hope I have no regrets in life. Let's call him Yi Shaokei. Isn't Yi Wuk good? The Grand Elder asked in confusion. My father's generation was a generation without words. Besides, who can be without any regrets? Just a little less is enough. What do you think? Night Sorrow explained and looked at Lin Piao Miao and his wives. It's all right. It has some artistic conception. Lin Piao Miao nodded. Yes, it has some literary accomplishments. Datura also agreed with this name. Father taught me history and poetry in the past. Night Sorrow smiled and passed the child to Lin Piao Miao. Congratulations, father. Congratulations, auntie. Night Sorrow's children bowed to Night Sorrow and Lin Piao Miao. Congratulations, Grand Commander. The soldiers and members of the god-slaying team in Broken Sky Mountain shouted. Night Sorrow waved his hand and used his energy to block the impact of the sound on the child. However, it was too late. However, Yi Xiaokei didn't cry or make a fuss. His eyes were filled with curiosity and he didn't show any signs of fear. Thank you for your kind intentions. We'll celebrate later. You didn't scare my son. Otherwise, you'll suffer. Night Sorrow tidied up his son's clothes and said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation Happy. Night Sorrow was too happy. He hoped that his family would be happy. His wives all had their own children. That way, he wouldn't have any regrets in life. Night Sorrow, who had a high alcohol tolerance, was knocked out by someone. After waking up, Night Sorrow had a slight hangover. He had to circulate his energy for a while to recover. He didn't even know how much alcohol he had drunk. Sister Xian, you'll have to work harder in the future. I'll have to go into seclusion later, Night Sorrow said. Go into seclusion. We'll take care of the child, Sikong Chuyu said while carrying Yi Xiaokei. Every time a child comes, my status in the family will drop a little. But it doesn't matter. Night Sorrow smiled at his wives and then left the campsite. His main body and avatar separated to cultivate. Half of the 30 years of confinement had passed. His cultivation had been successful in the past 15 years and he even had a child. Night Sorrow was very gratified, but he had a higher goal. He wanted to raise his cultivation to the Emperor Tribulation level during the 30 years of confinement. At that time, he could go to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to cultivate his own force. There, his soul power had once spread into the void. Cultivating there was twice the result with half the effort. 3 years later, after 18 years of confinement, Night Sorrow cultivated to the 7th tribulation of the Heavenly Tao. 10 years later, Night Sorrow's 25th year of confinement, he raised his cultivation to the 8th tribulation of the Heavenly Tao. He also cultivated the Heavenly Sword technique to a high level. However, his comprehension of the peerless Heavenly Tao's force was still stuck at a bottleneck. Helpless, Night Sorrow planned to have some peace and quiet. In the past few years, he would first go through the tribulation and then return to the stronghold to rest. When he reached the periphery of the stronghold, his soul power probed the scene. Night Sorrow was a little conflicted because the scene was too unimaginable. Lin Xuan and Yi Xiaokei were peeing beside a mountain stream outside the stronghold. They were shouting loudly, competing to see who could pee further. After the two of them finished peeing, Night Sorrow rushed over and carried Yi Xiaokei back to the stronghold. Lin Xuan naturally followed. What's the matter? Why are you pulling such a long face? Lin Piao Miao appeared. Tell. What should he say? After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow turned around and pointed at Lin Xuan. Chapter 2061. It's nothing, you guys can chat. Lin Xuan cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow and Lin Piao Miao before turning to leave. He knew that Night Sorrow would be furious and if he didn't leave, he would be punished. Xiaokei, tell mother what happened? Lin Piao Miao pulled her son to her side and asked. Xiaokei and Uncle Chuan had a pee contest to see who could pee further. It seems like father isn't very happy. Yi Xiaokei fixed his collar and said softly. Lin Xuan, you bastard. Lin Piao Miao also cursed, but Lin Xuan had already run away. It's nothing, children should grow up happily. However, Lin Xuan bullied our Xiaokei. This is too much. Yang Lei came out and pulled Yi Xiaokei to her side. That's true, growing up happily is necessary. Night Sorrow knew that the members of the stronghold all treated their children like treasures. Lin Xuan was playing with the child. One had to know that Lin Xuan usually taught Yi Xiaokei very seriously. Night Sorrow was very happy that he successfully passed the tribulation. Other than that, the family was very harmonious and his children were all growing up well. The Grand Elder and the Golden Dragon King didn't appear, but the two of them were talking in a large tent at the edge of the stronghold. 30 years of confinement allowed Night Sorrow and Reincarnation Island to undergo a transformation. Is it a hero who creates the times, or the times create the heroes? The Golden Dragon King was somewhat emotional. The Golden Dragon race's Long Gene had developed well in the past 20 years. During the meeting of heroes, Long Gene was at the peak of the low-class emperor rank and was half a step into the middle-class emperor rank. After 20 years of bitter cultivation, he was now at the late stage of the middle-class emperor rank and was moving towards the peak of the emperor rank. Tianyu and the others were also developing rapidly. The descendants of several divine beast races were also rapidly rising. Other than that, a few members of the god-slaying team had also entered the emperor rank. Under Night Sorrow's high-pressure deadline, they all exploded with their potential. How should I say this? It's relative. Even without this turbulent period, with Night Sorrow's talent, incomparable tenacity, and perseverance, his rise was inevitable. Of course, his appearance at this time had also stirred up the situation between Heaven Wasteland and the Celestial Realm. If Night Sorrow had not been exiled to Heaven Wasteland and Yan Wushuang's soul had been defeated in the battle with Mo Tianji would have returned to the Demon Wing clan. Not to mention how much stronger she would have been one of the giants of the Demon Wing clan. In addition, the human emperor's seal will definitely fall into the hands of the Demon Wing clan, which will be a great blow to the fortune of the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm, the Grand Elder said. The Golden Dragon King thought about Night Sorrow's past and said, he brought back the human emperor's skeleton, took the Desolation Halberd, and stopped Mo Yutian's plan to take over the Reincarnation Sea. His contributions to the Celestial Realm are terrifying. There's a pile of external contributions, but what about internal contributions? His appearance stimulated the courage of the younger generation of the Celestial Realm and led a trend. The Humanitarian League under his command also cleaned up the pests in the Celestial Realm and set up a moral standard, the Grand Elder said. Then the Golden Dragon King and the Grand Elder discussed and predicted the future of the Reincarnation Island. First of all, after 30 years, Night Sorrow was likely to be an Emperor's Tribulation cultivator. With this cultivation level, he was qualified to be a law-enforcing elder in the Council of Elders. Young? Night Sorrow was young, but he had experience. The current law-enforcing elder could not compare to Night Sorrow in terms of contributions and strength of the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm. In addition, when the Reincarnation Island appeared, the 4 lists of the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm would be reshuffled. Whether it was the Celestial List, Terrestrial List, Human List, or King List, the Reincarnation Island would set off a wave of impact. Then what should we do with Night Sorrow and the Reincarnation Island? The Golden Dragon King asked. What should we do? Let's not talk about this. Let the elders of the 100 clans talk about it themselves. They all know the title of Immortal Godly Emperor. Suppress it? If they dare, then we'll suppress them. The Great Elder smiled. The Golden Dragon King shook his head. He knew that when it came to Night Sorrow, as long as one was not an idiot, they would have a benchmark. Suppressing the human emperor would not do them any good. Another point was that Night Sorrow's connections were terrifying. Almost all the major mythological beast clans were friends with Night Sorrow. It was not the kind of superficial friendship, but true friendship. Night Sorrow was with his family and did not talk to Lin Xuan and the others about the child's education. Things like peeing were all for fun. In terms of principles, Lin Xuan and the others were very strong. What do you plan to do next? Let's rest for a while. Lin Piaomiao asked. Night Sorrow shook his head. His original body wanted to break through to the next realm, and his clone wanted to cultivate the heavenly sword technique. Currently, the technique he cultivated could not be called the Heavenly Sword technique. The most suitable name was the Limitless Spear Art. This was because Knight Sorrow's direction of cultivation was the limitless attribute. Knight Sorrow's goal in cultivating the Limitless Spear Art was not to pursue combat power. He used this technique as a means to assist in his cultivation. He constantly understood the limitless attribute. This way, he would be able to cultivate the limitless attribute with twice the result with half the effort. Knight Sorrow was very clear that his future combat power would depend on the level of the limitless attribute. In the combination of attributes, the lowest attribute realm determined the quality of the taboo attribute. After staying in the stronghold of Broken Mountain for a while, Knight Sorrow went to the Demon Mountain area to take a look. His original body cultivated, and his clone in the stronghold, Nan Yong and Lin Yun accompanied Knight Sorrow for a walk. After more than 20 years of operation, the stronghold of Demon Mountain was impregnable. This was because the elders had sent a formation master to set up a defense array around the stronghold. Nan Yong, Lin Yun, Alet Song Jin Gang and Duan Xianshui bring their troops over. You guys bring people to the stronghold of Broken Mountain to change the defense. Knight Sorrow said. Commander, it's fine for us to stay here. There are no enemies, no pressure, no need to worry about changing the defense. Nan Yong expressed his opinion. It's better to change it. Our reincarnation island will fight side by side in the future. The friendship between brothers is very important. Your subordinates lack communication with the other three. Without communication, there will be no affection. Who can block a blade for who? Knight Sorrow did not accept Nan Yong's suggestion. Yes. This subordinate didn't think it through just now. When Song Jin Gang and Duan Xianshui arrive, this subordinate will bring our brothers to the stronghold of Broken Mountain. After hearing Knight Sorrow's explanation, Nan Yong bowed and accepted the order. Knight Sorrow patrolled the Demon Mountain territory. Inside Lin Piaomiao's tent at the stronghold of Broken Mountain, Datura chased Knight Sorrow out to play. She told her sisters about the conversation she heard between Knight Sorrow and Jun Xuanji. There's such a thing. But it doesn't seem to have any effect on Knight Sorrow. For more than 20 years, Knight Sorrow came out of seclusion to accompany us or patrol the stronghold. Aoi said. Chapter 2062. That's right. Back then, Knight Sorrow's attitude towards Lin Jingyi made me feel bad, but he still persevered. Looking at the situation this time, his attitude is still the same, Aoi said. Knight Sorrow has his own considerations, so we should try not to get involved in this matter. Moreover, Jun Xuanji's situation is different. If something really goes wrong, it will be a big problem. Simply speaking, it's a family matter of our Yi family, but more importantly, it concerns the situation of the celestial realm, Lin Piaomiao said. Be update H soon, part 1, it hasn't been easy for her all these years. Let's see how she and Knight Sorrow deal with this. Sikong Chuyu nodded. She supported Lin Piaomiao's idea. After walking around the stronghold of the Demon Mountain, Knight Sorrow returned to the camp of the Broken Sky Mountain. He called Song Jin Gang and Duan Xianshui to the command tent and told them about the change of guard. After receiving the order, Song Jin Gang and Duan Xianshui led their men and set off. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow went to the tent where the Grand Elder and the Golden Dragon King were resting. The Heaven Wasteland Army is being mobilized. Are you going to do something? The Grand Elder asked. Nothing much. The main thing is that I feel that the men of Samsara Island need to communicate with each other. This way, they will have a tacit understanding and brotherhood on the battlefield. So, I arranged for them to change the guard. Knight Sorrow explained the purpose of the change of guard. Very good. You've thought about it thoroughly. This is also an important reason why your men have such a strong ability to cooperate in battle. In the other armies of the Heaven Wasteland Army, conflicts are common, but it's different for your troops. Fights are common, but they're all so happy and harmonious. It's true brotherhood. The Great Elder nodded. He supported Yi Shang's idea. Knight Sorrow, this king has a say in the Council of Elders. Why don't I hand over the Heaven Wasteland army to you? The Golden Dragon King said. The management of the Heaven Wasteland city was the Council of Elders of the 100 races. The person with the highest status was the Grand Elder, followed by the law-enforcing elders, ordinary elders, commanders of the Heaven Wasteland army, and captains. There were also some top cultivators who did not usually show up, such as Tran Hung, Lord of Heavenly Wasteland City, Lord of Divine Capital, and the clan leader of the Divine Beast clan, who had a higher status. They were the guardians of Heavenly Wasteland City and the Grand Elders of the Council of Elders. Because they had their own clans to manage, they would not show up unless Heavenly Wasteland City and the 100 Races Alliance were in danger. Lord Golden Dragon King, let's not have such thoughts. I'm too busy. It's good enough that I can manage the Heaven Wasteland army well. Night Sorrow hurriedly refused. All right, I won't force you. The Heaven Wasteland army under your command is much stronger than before. This is already very good. The Grand Elder knew Night Sorrow's character and knew that Night Sorrow especially hated trouble. 8 Tribulations of the Heavenly Tao. Your confinement will end in 5 years. You might be able to break through to the next level in 5 years. After that, you'll have to slowly settle down. The Golden Dragon King said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that he had underestimated the situation and had set his goal a little too high. It was harder to comprehend the momentum of the Heavenly Tao at the later stages. There was a gap between the 9 tribulations of the Heavenly Tao and the Imperial Tribulation that needed time to settle down. Yu Zhu and Rui Si had settled down for a long time. Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King did not undergo the Emperor Tribulation previously because they did not want to cause trouble in advance. In reality, they had been stuck at the 9 tribulations of the Heavenly Tao for a long time. After chatting with the Grand Elder and the Golden Dragon King for a while, Night Sorrow left the tent and made arrangements for the people that Nan Yong and Lin Yun had brought back. While making arrangements, Night Sorrow received a piece of good news. Yi Xiaolei had successfully entered the Imperial Realm while cultivating in Starry Moon City. She was the 3rd child of Night Sorrow to enter the Imperial Realm. These guys are faster than us. We're still stuck at the bottleneck and they've already rushed past it, Yang Lei said with a smile. As a mother, she was naturally happy that her daughter had entered the Imperial Realm. Qin Yan has a calm personality and her foundation is the most solid. It's only a matter of time before she enters the Imperial Realm. As for Lingxi, you don't have to worry, Night Sorrow said to Sikong Chuyu and Xue Shi. He did not want them to feel pressured. They're your children. Of course, there's no problem, Sikong Chuyu nodded. After celebrating for his daughter, Night Sorrow warned his family again that they were not allowed to change the area they were active in. They were not allowed to go through any trials. He was worried about Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji's disappearance was a huge hidden danger. In reality, Mo Tianji had always been annoyed. Her 2 moves did not respond. There was no news about Jun Xuanji's soul reincarnation. She could not even find out where he was. Moreover, after she possessed Zhu Jiuyun, she planned to control Zhu Jiuyun's original body as well. However, she did not sense anything. Every time she came out of the time acceleration magic treasure, Mo Tianji would pay attention to the news. Then, she would relax for a while before rapidly increasing her cultivation. The Demon Wing clan stabilized because Mo Yutian went into seclusion to break through to a new level. The 100 clans of the Celestial Realm did not do anything because King Yawu was in seclusion. The Zhuge realm, whose leader Zhuge Qian was killed by the Humanitarian League, did not do anything either. The Humanitarian League was already established. If the Zhuge realm did anything, they would face the merciless attacks of the Humanitarian League. In the Tianhuang mountain area, a miserable figure was flying continuously, avoiding the pursuit of the Demon Wing clan. He was Heaven's Horizon, who was exiled to Tianhuang. After being exiled, Heaven's Horizon was running for his life. He was not willing to accept that his position in the clan had been shaken. He was not willing to be suppressed by Night Sorrow. In addition, Being raped by a wild boar was an eternal humiliation in his heart. He wanted revenge. Run. As long as he was discovered by the Demon Wing clan, Heaven's Horizon would keep running. Fortunately, he was from the Green Rock clan and was good at speed. He was not caught or killed by the Demon Wing clan. He was tired. He could not hold on any longer. Looking at the Demon Wing clan behind him, Heaven's Horizon turned around. He did not plan to run anymore. Soon, Heaven's Horizon was surrounded by several Demon Wing clan emperors. I am a direct descendant of the Green Rock clan of the Celestial Realm. I want to see the upper echelons of your Demon Wing clan. Heaven's Horizon said. He wanted to find a way to change his current situation. Mo Lichin, this pretty boy is not bad. Don't you like him? I'll leave him to you. Don't kill him. If we bring him back, it might be a great merit. One of the Demon Wing clan emperors said. What are you doing? Heaven's Horizon's face changed. He was afraid when he saw the Demon Wing clan emperor's eyes. The psychological trauma from last time was very serious. What are we doing? If you want to live, then be honest. We'll give you a chance to communicate with the upper echelons. If you make me unhappy, the consequence will be your death. The Demon Wing clan emperor Mo Lichin, who had a thick beard, said. Chapter 2063. Even leaning against the tree was useless. Under the attack of the Demon Wing Imperial Emperor, Heaven's Horizon was afraid of death and did not dare to fight head-on. Naturally, it was captured, tortured, and sent to the Demon Imperial City. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow was not worried about whether he could complete his goal before the end of his confinement. So what if he could not complete it? No one said that he had to end his cultivation and leave Reincarnation Island after his confinement ended. He could cultivate for as long as he wanted. However, something happened that made Night Sorrow very happy. The 9-domain world's Great World Tribulation had arrived. After passing it, the 9-domain world would be at the Great World level. The 9-domain origins told Night Sorrow that the tribulation would come in a few years. It was still brewing. It would probably wait until Night Sorrow's confinement ended. Night Sorrow was not worried about the danger brought by the tribulation. He was excited. In the past, the Chaos Realm's 3 great worlds' world tribulation had passed without an emperor. Now that he was at the 8th tribulation of the Heavenly Tao, he could naturally withstand it. There were many emperors in the other 9-domain worlds. The God-slaying team was very strong now. If they could not pass the world tribulation with their strength, then there was nothing to say. Looking at Yi Shaoke, Night Sorrow felt that he should throw him into the 9-domain world for a while and let him come in contact with the 9-domain world more. When Lin Piaomiao was pregnant, Night Sorrow was worried that Yi Shaoke's life origin belonged to the Celestial Realm. After all, the Celestial Realm did not have much lifespan. It was only one era. Later, the 9-domain origins told Night Sorrow that when Yi Shaoke showed signs of life, he absorbed the origin power of the 9-domain origins pearl in Night Sorrow's body. His life imprint belonged to the 9-domain world. Only then did Night Sorrow feel relieved. This meant that Yi Shaoke was from the 9-domain world. When Yi Shaoke was born, he also absorbed some of the Celestial Realm's Fate Dragon's fate. This was a great help. One had to know that ordinary people could not even get close to Yaowu Mountain, let alone give birth. This was because King Yaowu was familiar with Lin Piaomiao's aura and Grand Elder's aura. Otherwise, even if he was in seclusion, he would have come out and killed the intruders. Night Sorrow didn't tell anyone about the 9-domain world's tribulation. He had his 9-domain world clone, so he wouldn't be caught off guard. In addition, Night Sorrow told his wives that it was better for their children to return to the 9 regions world, especially Yi Shaoke. Everyone in the Yi family respected Night Sorrow's opinion. His wives brought their children back to the 9 domains world. Night Sorrow began to cultivate again, aiming for the heavenly Tao 9, the Arch Tribulation. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Night Sorrow's self-confinement was over, but he didn't reach the Emperor Tribulation realm. On the 29th year of his confinement, which was 1 year before the end of his confinement, Night Sorrow reached the peak of the Emperor Tribulation realm. Now that his confinement was over, Night Sorrow planned to prepare for the 9 Domains world's tribulation. Night Sorrow found the Grand Elder and Golden Dragon King and told them about his return to the 9 Domains world and the impending tribulation. After all, he had to deal with it. Very good. It's different from 5 years ago. The new and old Supreme Worlds can keep up with the pace. Go back and deal with it, the Grand Elder said. I will bring back the 9 Domains world members of the God-slaying team. The other 3 great generals and First Army will continue to be stationed at Reincarnation Island. Night Sorrow told them his plans. The Grand Elder and Golden Dragon King both supported Night Sorrow's plans. In addition, because Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyan were going to follow Night Sorrow back to the 9 Domains world, the Grand Elder also decided to return to the Heavenly Desolate City. The Golden Dragon King's doppelganger was enough to guard the 9 Domains world. The Golden Dragon King was weaker than the giant of the Demon Wing clan, but with the help of the Strongholds formation, he wouldn't be defeated in a short time. This time, the Heavenly Desolate City's City Lord and Grand Elder would be able to come to his aid. In addition, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm had been developing on Reincarnation Island for decades. The Demon Wing clan wouldn't attack so easily. After returning to the 9 Domains world, Night Sorrow let the God-slaying team camp in the 9 Domains world while he returned to the city in the sky. In the past few days, Night Sorrow's 9 Domains doppelganger had been cultivating the unbounded spear arts and hadn't spent much time with his family. Now, he planned to spend time with his parents and Old Man Gu before the 9 Domains world's tribulation. Night Sorrow spent every day drinking tea with his parents and fishing with Old Man Gu. As for his children, they had long since disappeared. Half a month after Night Sorrow returned to the 9 Domains world, Tai Shu Yen returned with Yi Shaokei. Seeing Yi Shaokei with his head lowered and silent, Night Sorrow knew that his son might have gotten into trouble, so he looked at Tai Shu Yen. It's not a big deal. Shaokei entered the realm of unbounded desolation and had some conflicts with the demon beasts. The Black Dragon King had no choice but to come to me. He thought it was a cultivator from another world who came to make trouble, Tai Shu Yen said. You bastard, don't you know how to behave? Night Sorrow glared at Yi Shaokei. Father, you can't blame me for this. I was just looking around. I didn't intend to get into a conflict with anyone. It was an accident that I offended the Black Dragon King, Yi Shaokei said. Martial Ant, tell me what trouble he caused. I'll deal with it. Night Sorrow said after inviting Tai Shu Yen to sit down. Forget about it. It's embarrassing to talk about it. Tai Shu Yen didn't elaborate. Shaokei, explain it clearly. Lin Piaomiao said. Mother, it's like this. I was traveling around the 9 Domains world. That day, I rested on a mountain. After resting, I stood on the mountain peak and peed. As a result, I peed on someone, and he lost his temper. That's what happened. Yi Shaok's voice was somewhat low. His pee had traveled far. After all, he had practiced with Lin Chuan before. That day, he had poured energy into his pee, so his pee had traveled through the clouds, from the mountain peak to the foot of the mountain, and onto the sleeping Black Dragon King. Black Dragon King, who had thought it was raining, immediately understood what had happened when he saw Yi Shaokei pulling up his pants. How could he bear it? He had chased after Yi Shaokei and started killing him. Naturally, he didn't know who Yi Shaokei was. Although Black Dragon King was quite strong, the 15-year-old Yi Shaokei was already at the Middle King realm. Black Dragon King was no match for him. Yi Shaokei, who had remembered his parents' instructions not to kill easily, immediately ran away. Since he couldn't catch Yi Shaokei, Black Dragon King had mobilized the demon beasts of the realm of unbounded desolation to intercept him, which had turned into a beast tide. You bastard. Martial Ant, where is Black Dragon King now? I'll take my men to apologize. Night Sorrow sighed. He really couldn't say anything about this matter. His son hadn't done anything wrong. It was just that he had peed in the wrong place. He's still in 9-Domain City. It's not a big deal, but no one would feel good about being peed on, Tai Shu Yen said with a smile. Sister Xian, let's take our son to Black Dragon King and apologize. Night Sorrow said. He had a friendship with Black Dragon King, the former Black Dragon Saint. He had to give him an explanation. Chapter 2064. He's just a child. Why are you being so calculative with a child? Night Sorrow educates his child. Don't you understand that this is just a small matter? Yun Tianlong said. Night Sorrow educates his child? That little fellow can't be Night Sorrow's son, right? Black Dragon Lord looked at Yun Tianlong in surprise. You're right. That's Night Sorrow's youngest child. I just got the news from Tai Shu Yen. That child is only in his teens. He didn't have any ill intentions. It was just an accident. Yun Tianlong said. Sigh. So what if he pees all over? He's already a 4-star king in his teens. That's amazing. Hearing that Yi Shaokei was Night Sorrow's child, Black Dragon Lord shook his head. He knew that this matter was over. Night Sorrow was someone he respected and also the realm lord of the 9 regions world. He had done a lot for the 9 regions world. He couldn't make things difficult for Night Sorrow. As Black Dragon Lord said this, Night Sorrow and his wife brought Yi Shaokei into the city lord's mansion. I'm sorry about this. Shaokei quickly apologized to Senior Black Dragon Lord. Senior, I'm sorry. It's Yi Shaokei's fault. I didn't understand and made you angry. Yi Shaokei bowed to Black Dragon Lord. Domain Lord, what are you doing? Young Domain Lord, if you shouted and told me your identity, I wouldn't have chased you. However, your pee was too far and too accurate. Black Dragon Lord cupped his hands to Night Sorrow. Yi Shaokei apologized again. Regardless of whether it was intentional or not, he had hurt Black Dragon Lord. After chatting for a while, Black Dragon Lord also expressed his apologies. He didn't want to make things difficult for anyone. In the beginning, he was just angry. Shaokei, it's okay to do something wrong. Don't run away. You have to face it bravely. Night Sorrow looked at his son and said. Father, you told me not to kill for no reason. At that time, Senior Black Dragon Lord didn't listen to my explanation and wanted to kill me. So I had to run. Yi Shaokei said softly. You're still saying you're right? Night Sorrow glared at Yi Shaokei. Haha. Don't scold me anymore, Realm Lord. I made a big fuss out of nothing this time. It's not a big deal. Next time, when you go to the realm of unbounded desolation, just let me know in advance, and I'll let you know. You can do whatever you want, and no demon beasts will dare to provoke you. The 9 realms world is your father's territory, and the realm of unbounded desolation is my, Black Dragon Monarch's, territory. I really don't know what to do with you. Martial Uncle Tai Shu, Monarch Yun, give the order to gather all cultivators above the Saint King realm. We will have a war in 3 months, Night Sorrow said to Tai Shu Yen and Yun Tianlong. What, is there going to be a big battle? Tai Shu Yan's eyes lit up. The great world tribulation of the 9-domain world is coming. We need to solve this problem. Although it's not a big problem, we need to call out those who need to. Everyone has a chance to contribute to the 9-domain world, so do it, Night Sorrow said. Tai Shu Yen, Yun Tianlong, and Black Dragon Monarch all bowed to Night Sorrow. This was an official military order. They had to carry out the Realm Lord's order. After giving the orders, Night Sorrow left the City Lord's mansion with Lin Piaomiao and Yi Shaokei and went to the teleportation portal. After arriving at Sky City and exiting the teleportation portal, Yi Shaokei bowed to Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao and said, I'm sorry. I didn't know any better and made father and mother worry. Father, please don't be angry. I'll be more careful in the future. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. It's not a big deal. It was an accident. Just go and apologize. Looking at his father, Yi Xiaoke nodded. He was a little afraid of Knight's sorrow, mainly because he didn't want to make him angry. He knew how difficult it was for his father from his mother and aunt's education. He didn't want to trouble his father with some of his matters. Translator, Zephy editor, Dioquin, actually, it's nothing. Let's go home. Everyone is here. You don't have to go back to spend time with your family. Remember, no matter how great your achievements are, your family must value you. Knight Sorrow said to his son. Xiaoke, you might have been influenced by the rumors outside. Don't think that it's hard to communicate with your father just because he has fame and achievements. Your father is patient and tolerant towards you and your brother. Lin Piaomiao said to Yi Xiaoke. After returning to Sky City, Knight Sorrow chatted with his family about the changes in the 9-domain world. His 9-domain doppelganger also cultivated the limitless spear art, so he didn't know much about the 9-domain world. Now that he investigated, he found that it had expanded to the same size as the Chaos Realm's 3 great worlds. The level was about the same, but the Chaos Realm's 3 great worlds couldn't be compared to the 9-domain world. The 9-domain world was a new world with rich spiritual energy. It also contained more opportunities and was full of vitality. After returning home, Yi Xiaoke was still not in a good mood because he knew that his sister and brothers had never caused any trouble. They also didn't ask their parents to go out and apologize. Knight Sorrow sat beside Yi Xiaoke and patted his shoulder. Are you still thinking about today's matter? If you don't understand, then Father will tell you. Father will tell you Father's view of the world and his attitude towards you and your siblings. First of all, we Yi family members must have a clear conscience. As long as we can do this, we will dare to face any challenge. Today's matter, whether you did it intentionally or not, was wrong. So we went to apologize. This is the basic principle. The Yi family members listened and no one interrupted, including Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing, who spoiled their grandson very much. If we apologize and the other party doesn't continue to make things difficult for us, then the matter will end happily. If the other party doesn't forgive us on the basis of our unintentional injury, then we are not afraid of the matter. We will deal with it however we want. Knight Sorrow said. Xiaoke will remember Father's teachings. Yi Xiaoke nodded. Also, remember one thing. If you encounter a problem, you have your sister and brother. You have Father. You can tell Father anything. Knight Sorrow nodded at Yi Xiaoke. Got it. Yi Xiaoke took the teapot and poured a cup of tea for Knight Sorrow. Haha. It's my youngest son's first time serving tea. I must drink it. Knight Sorrow took the tea and drank it in one gulp. Xiaoke, come to Grandma's side. Yu Qing waved her hand and pulled her grandson to her side. Your father is right. We Yi family members must have a clear conscience. If we do this, we will kill whoever dares to provoke us. You have to understand the most important thing. Your father is working hard for. Let's not talk about some grand goal first. The most basic thing is that the Yi family will be stable and give you a stable living environment. Son, am I right? Yu Qing looked at her son after she finished speaking. Chapter 2065. You're good. Everyone is here today. We'll hold a sumptuous family feast tonight. Everyone, put down whatever you're doing. No one is allowed to leave, Yu Qing said. After Yu Qing finished speaking, her daughters-in-law went to work. The Yi clan's family feast was all done by their own people. However, there were many people. Knight Sorrow's 2 daughters and 1 daughter-in-law also worked together with Sikong Chuyu and the others. Knight Sorrow, our Yi clan's children have no problems with their upbringing. It's just that you've been busy and they don't know you well enough. They don't understand your attitude and thoughts, so you have to interact with them more. Our Yi clan doesn't bully others, but we can't be bullied either. We can't be bullied, Yi Wuyo said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was his own problem. He lacked communication and interaction with his children. During the family feast, the Yi clan didn't have a rule of not talking while eating. Everyone chatted casually because it was an opportunity for them to interact. "Father, you've been too tired these years. You should rest. We'll work hard and cultivate. We'll help you shoulder some of the burden," Yi Xiaoluo said as he poured Night Sorrow a cup of wine. "As long as you have the heart, I am satisfied. However, everyone has their own responsibilities and their paths are different. I would like to stay in the 9 regions world peacefully, but as a member of the 100 Races Alliance and with the Human Emperor's seal, there are some things that I must do. You don't have to worry. High-speed cultivation will only last for a while. I'll stabilize later," Night Sorrow said. The children once again asked to join the god-slaying team. Night Sorrow directly rejected them without giving a reason. Yi Qingyan and the others knew why Night Sorrow rejected them. After Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyan returned to the 9 regions world, they first went to the Profound Mysteries realm and the Nether realm. Of course, the Profound Mysteries realm and the Nether realm were only regions in the 9 regions world. They couldn't be called worlds. The previous world barriers had been diluted. As time passed, the spatial barriers would disappear completely. After looking at their respective regions, Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyan felt relieved. The 9-domain world commander's residence had always been in charge of the 9-domain world, maintaining its rapid development without any bias. Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyan arrived at 9 Regions City, where the god-slaying squad was stationed. After arriving at the god-slaying team's encampment, Jun Xuanji looked at Tianyu and Long Jin and asked, "Commander, are you still not back yet?" Although Night Sorrow had only allowed the members of the god-slaying team from the 9 regions world to return, Lin Xuan, Long Jin, and the others had all come over. Looking at Jun Xuanji, Tianyu frowned. "Jun Xuanji, don't you think your words are a little inappropriate?" "That's right. It's your business that you're friends with the captain. But if you speak like this, how can us brothers endure it?" Long Jin also spoke up. He also felt that Jun Xuanji's words lacked respect for Night Sorrow. In the god-slaying team, everyone was brothers and sisters, but everyone had a certain level of respect for Night Sorrow. When Jun Xuanji was in the Broken Sky Mountain encampment, everyone took it as a joke and did not take it to heart. But now that the members of the god-slaying team were all here, Jun Xuanji's words were very abrupt and were equivalent to destroying Night Sorrow's image in everyone's hearts. "We're all from the 9 regions world. I hope that everyone can be harmonious. It's best if no one attacks my 13th brother," Yi Mei spoke up. Her words were a little more intense than Tianyu and Long Jin's. "Plus obviously, it's just a joke. There's no need to go so far. Also, if there's any situation or arrangements, the commander will send a message." Lin Yun, who had also come to the 9 regions world to take a look, spoke up to ease the atmosphere and give Jun Xuanji a way out. Jun Xuanji let out a breath and said, "Brothers and sisters, I'm sorry. I wasn't attacking Night Sorrow. My words just now were inappropriate. I apologize." As Night Sorrow's strategist in the 9 Heavens Army and the current general manager of the Humanitarian League, Jun Xuanji was a smart person. He knew that he should not speak carelessly in front of the members of the god-slaying team. His emotions could be vented on Night Sorrow, but it was inappropriate to show his dissatisfaction in front of others. The commander hasn't spent time with his family for a long time. Now that he's a little free, it's reasonable for him to spend some time with his family. We'll just wait for orders. Tianyu, you're the host of the 9 regions world. Can you treat everyone to a meal tonight? Lin Yun said with a smile. You should be the one to take advantage of 13th brother. But since he's not here, I'll take advantage of him. I'm also quite happy that you guys can come along, Tianyu said. That's a little pretentious. Once you treat us to a meal, all problems will be solved. Tianyu, we all know that you're rich, Lin Yun said with a smile. There's no problem with treating us to a meal. General Manager Jun, we don't know why you're in a bad mood. Let's have a meal, drink some wine, and everything will be over. If you can't get over it, you can think of a way to get over it. There's nothing that can't be solved, Tianyu said. After Tianyu got married, his personality had changed. His aura had become much calmer and more magnanimous. Take today's matter for example. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have handled it this way. Jun Xuanji nodded. She was also touched by Tianyu's words. Night Sorrow didn't care about the god-slaying team. He brought Yi Xiaokei, who wanted to see the place where he used to live, to Bamboo Garden City for a walk into the Yi clan's territory. Father, as the head of the Yi clan, you don't care about anything? Yi Xiaokei asked after hearing how the Yi clan's people in Bamboo Garden Village addressed Night Sorrow. It's just a title. The Night Moon Empire doesn't need you to manage it. Everything is running normally. This is where I lived when I was young. In the past, I only had an iron spear. Once I left the village and entered the wilderness, I could hunt. It's a pity that after nearly 1,000 years, things have changed, said Night Sorrow. It's really beautiful here, Yi Xiaokei said as he looked around Bamboo Garden Village. In the past, cultivators of the Essence Gathering Realm were very powerful in this area. It would take more than half a month to go from here to Medicine Valley by beast carriage. There were many dangers along the way. Now, it can be solved with a transmission array, Night Sorrow said with a smile. This place has changed because of you, Father. By the way, those people just said that Medicine Valley is going to hold a ceremony to accept disciples. Father, take me there. Don't I have a senior brother and sister? I've never seen them before, Yi Xiaokei said. Chapter 2066. Night Sorrow brought Yi Xiaokei to Danding City via the teleportation portal. Danding City had a teleportation portal that was connected to Medicine Valley. However, ordinary people could not use it as there were strict restrictions. Night Sorrow brought Yi Xiaokei to the teleportation portal and tried to ask. During the Medicine Valley's disciple recruitment ceremony, to show sincerity and respect, no one is allowed to use the teleportation portal. Even during normal times, only law enforcers and above can use it, the man guarding the portal said. Night Sorrow nodded and left with Yi Xiaokei. Father, what's your identity in the Medicine Valley? Yi Xiaokei asked after they left. He knew that his father was from the Medicine Valley. Apart from the disciples of the Medicine Valley who grew up with him, not many people could recognize him when he was not around. Identity. I think you're a Grand Elder. Why are you asking this? Being a Grand Elder is a responsibility, not something you can flaunt. Night Sorrow shook his head at his son. Father, don't think of me like that. I'm not a playboy. I'm just curious. Yi Xiaokei explained. I'm not. I have absolute trust in you and your siblings. If you're wrong, I'll tell you directly. Where are you hiding your thoughts and insinuating? Night Sorrow smiled and wrapped Yi Xiaokei in energy. His body flashed twice and they arrived at the foot of Danding Peak. I wanted to come here a few days ago. However, I felt that this is where you and my 2 aunts were born. I had to be formal if I wanted to come, so I gave up on the idea, Yi Xiaokei said. You're right. It's really lively here. I remember when I entered the sect, this place was not so grand. The lintel was also lower and the ancient tree was not so thick. Night Sorrow pointed at an ancient tree. While Yi Shang and his son were chatting, a beast carriage galloped over and came to a stop at the mountain gate. Get out of the way. Don't block our young master's way. The driver of the beast carriage was a stage 4 clone cultivator. He shouted at Night Sorrow and Yi Xiaokei. How are we poor? Yi Xiaokei was a little displeased after being yelled at. Look, who didn't come here in a beast carriage? You want to enter the Medicine Valley without any background? The coachman looked at Night Sorrow and Yi Xiaokei as he spoke. Then, he ushered a young man in brocade clothes out of the carriage. From the Southern Dipper sect? Yi Shan glanced at the insignia on the carriage and asked. Hey. It's not wrong to say that you're poor. 300 years ago, the Nanda clan existed as a noble family. Do you understand? The young man glanced at Night Sorrow and entered the Medicine Valley with his followers. Young Master K, do we look poor to you? Night Sorrow looked at Yi Wook. Not really, but we definitely don't look like a rich family. The men of the Yi family, including Grandpa, Father, and my brothers, never wear silk or brocade clothes. They all wear coarse linen clothes. If my sisters came, they would be scared to death, Yi Xiaokei said. The men and women of the Yi family wore different clothes. The women of the Yi family wore the best clothes in the celestial realm, not to mention the chaos realm. This was because Night Sorrow's wives were all women with great taste. The men couldn't do the same. Because Night Sorrow didn't pursue them, his son followed Night Sorrow's example. Haha. I wear coarse linen clothes because I feel comfortable. I'm not trying to emphasize anything. You're all casual. Night Sorrow laughed. Young Master K also thinks that it's good. Some families that have just risen up don't understand this. This is depth. Our Yi family has such depth. Their words are too superficial. I'll pretend that I didn't hear them. Yi Xiaokei shook his head. You're still young, but you have enough depth. That's good. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. The Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony hadn't officially arrived yet. Night Sorrow brought Yi Xiaokei to the Taishan Peak. There was less trouble outside the mountain gate, but inside the mountain gate, there was a guard every 3 steps and a sentry every 5 steps. There were disciples of the Medicine Valley patrolling everywhere. Shaking his head, Night Sorrow wrapped Yi Xiaokei with his energy. His body flashed and appeared in the bamboo grove. The bamboo grove used to be Aoi's training ground. Because she wasn't around all year round, it was given to Ning Yun and July. Ning Yun, who was practicing swordsmanship in the bamboo grove, stopped. July, who was watching from the side, also froze. Then, the two of them quickly bowed to greet. Get up quickly. There's no need. Young Master K greets your senior brother and sister. Night Sorrow waved his arm and helped Ning Yun and July up. Is this Master's son? July asked Yi Xiaokei. Yes. He's my and mistress' son. He used to stay with me in the celestial realm. Now that I'm back, I brought him to see you. You two should get to know each other. Don't fight when you meet somewhere else. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Looking at his clothes and demeanor, I know he's from the Yi family. How could we fight? Uncle, you're overthinking. July pulled Yi Xiaokei to her side and sized him up. Ning Yun invited Night Sorrow to sit down and began to make tea. Senior sister, don't say that we're from the Yi family. My father and I were called poor at the Medicine Valley's mountain gate. They even despised us for blocking the way. Yi Xiaokei looked at his own clothes and said. Ah. That's because they don't have a broad vision. They're too shallow. Forget about them. There's no need to lower yourself to their level. July said with a smile. July, you've matured. You're different from before. Night Sorrow looked at July and nodded. Master, she can't be immature. She has grandchildren all over the place. It's not appropriate for her to bare her fangs and brandish her claws like before. Ning Yun said with a smile. Children and grandchildren? Very good. I've slept for 700 years and didn't participate in any of your family matters. It's my fault. Night Sorrow said. Uncle, don't say that. You've slept for 700 years. July's sky has collapsed. July's eyes were filled with tears. Update, our update the fastest on M. Night Sorrow patted July's shoulder and then asked about Ning Yun and July's situation. Night Sorrow then found out that July was the current peak master of Taishan Peak while Ning Yun was the elder. Ning Yun wasn't just the elder of Taishan Peak. She was the elder of the entire Medicine Valley. In addition, July was the first deputy hall master of the Sacred Hall. She controlled the general direction of the Sacred Hall. Both of you have taken on great responsibilities, but your junior sister and junior brother don't care about these matters. I don't want to force them to do things they don't want to do. Night Sorrow shook his head. They're the same as Master. They have an indifferent personality. They live happily like this. However, Master, don't think that Ning Yun and I are tired. We're tall enough. We just need to move our mouths, July said. Chapter 2067. Night Sorrow arrived at Taishan Peak's main hall and saw Wu Qi and Huanan at the entrance. Second senior brother, third senior brother, Xiao Ke greets second martial uncle and third martial uncle. After Yi Shang cupped his hands in greeting, he let Yi Xiao Ke greet Wu Qi and Huanan. Don't stand on ceremony, let's talk inside. 13, you haven't met Master and big senior brother, right? Wu Qi invited Night Sorrow into the main hall. Not yet. When I came, I checked and found that Master, big senior brother, and Grand Elder Hua were all in the main hall for a meeting, so I didn't go. Night Sorrow said. As they chatted, Yi Xiaoke felt a little uncomfortable and was sent out to play by Night Sorrow. Yi Xiaoke was only 15 years old and was not used to listening to adults talk. 13, your youngest son is still so young. He's already a 4-star king? Huanan lamented. 15 years old. I remember I started cultivating when I was 14 years old. Our starting point is different from his. Actually, we work hard to cultivate because we want our descendants to have a better life than us. Night Sorrow said. That's true. You've done it. Also, the orders from the Commander-in-Chief's office have already reached the 9 regions. Master and the others are probably discussing this. Huanan said. Night Sorrow nodded. It's because of the 9 regions world's tribulation. It's not a big problem. I just feel that if everyone works hard together, the 9 regions world will be more united. You have to know that as the 9 regions world continues to develop, there will be more and more foreign cultivators. The local life forms have an advantage, but it's not that big. That's why unity is important. Wu Qi and Huanan supported Night Sorrow's point of view. They had ventured out before and knew the big picture. While they were talking, a disciple came to inform them that the Valley Master and Grand Elder had invited all the Peak Masters and Elders to Danding Peak's main hall for a meeting. I won't go. I'll meet Master and big senior brother later. Night Sorrow said. Let's go. It's not easy for you to come back, but you're just in time, Huanan said as he pulled Night Sorrow's arm. Night Sorrow didn't want to refuse, so he told Yi Xiaoke to wait for him at the bamboo grove. Then, he followed Wu Qi and Huanan to the main hall of the sect. They met 4th senior brother Huang'an, 5th senior brother Lu Peng, 7th senior brother Zhou Zheng, 8th senior brother Shi Tianlin, and 10th senior brother Tao Yuan. Seeing Night Sorrow, they all felt quite surprised and excited, as it was not easy for fellow apprentices to meet each other. The group of people chatted and laughed as they arrived at the conference hall. Then, they walked in. There were many people walking inside, but everyone was checked by the law enforcers at the entrance of the conference hall. Huanan brought Yi Shang along as he showed his token to the guard of the great meeting hall. Then, he walked into the hall. Stop right there. You can't enter without a badge. The middle-aged gatekeeper's body flashed as he blocked Night Sorrow's path. Get out of the way. A man pulled on the gatekeeper's arm. It was Yi Shui. Martial uncle, you can't enter the hall without an elder badge. He doesn't have a badge and doesn't have an identity badge, the man said as he grabbed his long sword. Greetings, Grand Elder. This is a disciple of Wuwei Peak. He doesn't know you, so please forgive him, Yi Shui said as he bowed to Night Sorrow. At this moment, the elders of the Medicine Valley, who were entering the hall, bowed to Night Sorrow. Greetings, Grand Elder. Even Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng stood up. You're all too polite. I didn't want to come, but I don't like this kind of scene. You can do whatever you want. I'm just here to take a look. Night Sorrow cupped his hands in return. Why didn't you tell me that you were back? Come and sit beside me. Yu Yangyu took a few steps forward and pulled Night Sorrow to his side. Night Sorrow was his favorite and most promising disciple. Ishui pulled the Wuwei Peak's law enforcer to the outside of the hall. Be smarter in the future. No one will barge into the Medicine Valley's conference hall. Besides, he's accompanied by the martial uncles of Taishian Peak. Grand Elder Knight. The Wuwei Peak's law enforcer was stunned as he looked at the conference hall. Just pretend that I'm not here. Talk about whatever you want. Otherwise, I won't feel comfortable, Night Sorrow said as he sat down in the hall. Haha. This is the spiritual leader of the Medicine Valley. It's been so many years, but he's still the same as before, Yen Beiji said with a smile. Martial Uncle is still the same. Night Sorrow cupped his hands in front of Yen Beiji. Grand Elder? Whitey version J, Night Sorrow, we're having this meeting because the Commander-in-Chief's office ordered all cultivators above the Holy King realm to gather. The Saints have also been prepared to act as the reserve force. They didn't mention the specific situation. The Medicine Valley plans to gather the troops and depart after the disciple recruitment ceremony, Yu Yangyu said. The Saints are gathering as the reserve force. I really didn't know. The order to gather this time was given by me to the Commander-in-Chief's office. It's mainly to deal with the tribulation of the 9 regions world. There should be about 2 months left. Night Sorrow explained the reason for gathering the troops. Is the tribulation of the 9 regions world very serious? Hua Yunpeng asked. It's not serious. When the time comes, we'll go together and solve the problems. Night Sorrow shook his head. Okay. Other than the time when the Medicine Valley rose and we fought side by side, we didn't have another chance. This time, we can. Hua Nan was a little excited. Then, the meeting turned into a chat. Since there was nothing to discuss, the matter was settled. 13. If the Medicine Valley wants to develop, is there a need to develop a branch in the celestial realm? Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow and asked. There's no need. It's a great era now. After the Great Era, the development center of the 100 races will be the 9 regions world. Of course, we still need time. We'll spend a lot of effort and pay a high price to develop in the celestial realm, but the future core will be the 9 regions world. Everything we do will be neglecting the essentials, Night Sorrow said. Fortunately, I asked you. Otherwise, it would have been a waste of effort, Gong Xian said. The Medicine Valley is currently expanding very quickly. In fact, this model is not suitable. In the past, some large sects and forces didn't develop well in the later stages because they had too many disciples. The quality of their disciples was not good, which made them angry and attacked them in the end. This is not a management problem, but a development trend. No matter how strict the sect's rules and regulations are, they can't control the emergence of black sheep. It's better to go the elite route. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow talked about the disadvantages of the Medicine Valley's current development. We must pay attention to the problem that the Grand Elder mentioned. The Medicine Valley is indeed developing too quickly. It's most important to have a stable foundation. Duan Lei also supported Night Sorrow's point of view because he had mentioned this problem before. Night Sorrow, after the disciple recruitment ceremony, I will discuss this problem with the elders in detail. The Medicine Valley must not make any mistakes. We must pass down this legacy, Yu Yangyu said. Yes, it's a serious matter. Yi Xiling nodded. Chapter 2068. Jingyi, stop talking. Yi Xiling turned her head to stop Lin Jingyi. The others also looked at Lin Jingyi. Most of the old people sitting here knew what had happened between Night Sorrow and Lin Jingyi in the past. Now that they heard Lin Jingyi's words, they felt that Lin Jingyi was targeting Night Sorrow. Master, I'm telling the truth. If Night Sorrow doesn't fall, who can do anything to our Medicine Valley? Who dares to do anything to our Medicine Valley? On the other hand, to put it bluntly, if he were to be defeated by his opponent one day, they wouldn't leave our Medicine Valley alive either. They would uproot us directly to get rid of future troubles. Lin Jingyi didn't stop her speech and continued to throw out another point of view. After hearing Lin Jingyi's words, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, I didn't think about this before. Senior sister Lin is right. I will work hard to cultivate in the future and increase my strength. As for the development of the Medicine Valley, we can discuss it. Night Sorrow, what I said just now is not extreme. It's reasonable. If you are in trouble, then the Medicine Valley will do its best to stand behind you, even if it can't help you. Can your opponent stay in such a sect? Obviously not. Of course, this can't be the reason for the Medicine Valley to develop randomly. We still have to pay attention to the stability of the foundation and the quality of the sect's disciples. Lin Jingyi said. She didn't use the title of Grand Supreme. She just called him by his name as usual. I understand. I know senior sister Lin is a sensible person. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow is the emperor of merit and the backer of our Medicine Valley. But our disciples can't run amok because of this and tarnish Night Sorrow's reputation. After the disciple recruitment ceremony, let's sit together and revise the sect rules. Elder Xiang, do you have any objections? Yu Yangyu looked at Xiang Tianding and asked. I don't have any objections. The development of the sect must be on the right path. If it deviates, it must be corrected. Xiang Tianding nodded. Gyong Ijio, $read novels for free are for the sect meeting soon turned into a chat. However, Night Sorrow didn't speak much. Once he spoke, the others wouldn't speak and would only listen to him. After staying for a while, Night Sorrow stood up, cupped his hands, and left. It was fine for him to talk business here, but if he chatted, everyone would feel uncomfortable. Outside of the assembly hall, Elder Yi Shui didn't wait for Night Shang to leave. He dragged the law enforcer from Wuwei Peak to apologize to Night Shang. Please forgive me, Grand Elder Yi. I have seen the statue of the Grand Elder and should have recognized him. However, I never thought that the Grand Elder would appear, so I offended you, the law enforcer of the Wuwei Peak said. It's all right. As a person, one must have a persevering attitude. Since you're guarding the conference hall, you can't enter without a token. This is the rule. You didn't do anything wrong. The Medicine Valley needs disciples like you. Work hard. Night Sorrow patted the disciple's shoulder and then turned to leave. Uncle Master Yi, Grand Elder Yi won't be angry anymore, right? My arm? The law enforcer moved his left arm in surprise. What's wrong? Yi Shui asked in surprise. Disciple was injured in the early days of training. My arm was broken. Later, it was successfully reconnected, but 2 of my veins were blocked. Just now, Grand Elder Yi patted my shoulder, and the 2 veins were reconnected. The law enforcer moved his arm and said. Are you still worried that Grand Elder Yi will be angry? She is the Merit Emperor. Will she lower herself to your level? Yi Shui shook his head. Night Sorrow returned to Taishan Peak. After picking up his son, Yi Shaokei, in the Bamboo Grove, he went to Bamboo Grove Peak. Son, this is where I used to cultivate. It was your Uncle Master's at first, but he gave it to me later. At that time, there were 3 bamboo huts here. Later, it was built like this. Sometimes, I would take your mother and aunt here to rest. Night Sorrow introduced the place to Yi Shaokei after arriving at Bamboo Grove Peak. This place is really good. Can I cultivate here in the future? Yi Shaokei asked. Okay, I will talk to your Uncle Masters later. Night Sorrow nodded. After drinking a cup of tea, Night Sorrow estimated that even if he left early, the meeting would be over. He planned to visit Yu Yangyu. When Night Sorrow arrived at Taishan Peak, Yu Yangyu, Gong Xian, and Xiang Tianding all came over. Please forgive me, Master. I should have gone to greet you first, but I found that you were in a meeting, so I didn't go. Night Sorrow bowed to Yu Yangyu. You don't need to be so polite. How are your 2 senior sisters? Yu Yangyu reached out to help Night Sorrow up and pulled him into the Taishan Hall. In the Taishan Hall, Night Sorrow, Yu Yangyu, Gong Xian, Xiang Tianding, and Uncle Master Tai Tsung chatted for a while. They mainly talked about the future development of the Nine Zones world. Night Sorrow talked about the possible situations. Yu Yang Yu and the others didn't know about these, so they could only listen to Night Sorrow's analysis. They were thinking about how to develop the Medicine Valley and how to prepare for a new set of rules. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow and his senior brothers gathered. They hadn't seen each other for many years, so they needed to communicate. When Night Sorrow returned to Bamboo Grove Peak, Yi Xiaokei was practicing his spear arts. "Father, I plan to stay here for a while." "If you have something to do, go ahead," Yi Xiaokei said after putting away his spear. "That's fine. Tomorrow, I'll take you to see the Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony. Then, I'll introduce you to the Uncle Masters." Night Sorrow nodded. After resting for a night on Bamboo Grove Peak, when Night Sorrow and Yi Xiaokei finished washing up, Ning Yun and July came. The two of them invited Night Sorrow to attend the Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony. At the gate of Medicine Valley, a few more seats were added to the original seats. The seats were higher than the seats of the sect master and the elders. Ho Jian. In the past, when we sent our family disciples to attend the Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony, only the elders attended. The grandest time was when the Valley Master appeared. Now, what's going on with the seats that are higher than the Valley Master's seat? Nan Liue looked at Ho Jian beside her and asked. The two of them were in the audience seats. Behind them were the disciples of the Nanda family and the Holy Light sect who came to join the Medicine Valley. After nearly 1,000 years of baptism, there was only one super sect in the Eastern Profound Domain, and that was the Medicine Valley. In fact, it was also the #1 sect in the Nine Domains world. The various forces in the Nine Domains world also sent their disciples to the Medicine Valley to cultivate. The Medicine Valley did not reject this. Whether or not one could enter the sect depended on one's talent. However, one must make a heavenly oath before entering the sect. The only ones with a higher status than the Valley Master and the elders are the Supreme Elders. However, it's already good that one of them came. Today's situation seems to be different. There are 3 seats, Ho Jian said. His and Nan Liue's cultivation was high, but they understood that in a sect, the absolute upper echelons were almost all in a state of cultivation. They almost didn't care about the internal affairs of the sect. When Night Sorrow and Yi Xiaokei arrived, the peak masters and elders who were originally sitting at the gate of the Medicine Valley stood up and cupped their hands to greet them. Gong Xian stood up and led Night Sorrow to the Supreme Elder's seats. Then, Yu Yang Yu and Xiang Tianding also arrived. The two of them cupped their hands to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a junior in the Medicine Valley. However, he was the domain master of the Nine Domains world. The Medicine Valley had to respect him. Chapter 2069. Great Aunt, who is that person? The young master in embroidered clothes took 2 steps forward and pointed at Yi Shang as he asked softly behind Nan Liue. The domain lord of the Nine Domain world, immortal godly Emperor Night Sorrow. Nan Liue revealed Night Sorrow's identity. After hearing Nan Liue's words, the young man's expression changed. He was the Nan family's Nan Kong, the descendant of Nan Liue's elder brother. He knew that there was a big problem. He had belittled Night Sorrow yesterday. Nan Liue turned to look at Nan Kong. You shouldn't be asking about this. What's wrong? She realized that something was wrong. Grandson belittled him yesterday. Nan Kang's body was trembling. What's wrong? Speak. Nan Liue roared. Nan Kang's body trembled and he knelt on the ground. Nan Liue's position in the Nan family was very high because she was a member of the god-slaying team. Grandson said he was poor. Nan Kong trembled as he spoke. Nan Liue stood up and grabbed Nan Kong by the neck. She walked over to Night Sorrow. Captain, what do you think we should do? Before Yi Shang could say anything, Yi Xiaokei, who was standing behind Yi Shang, stepped forward and greeted Nan Liue. Aunt Liue. Liue, the child doesn't know any better. There's no need to make things difficult for him. Let's forget about it. Night Sorrow smiled. You're young, but you've developed a habit of looking down on others. Scram back to the family and receive your punishment. If you dare to hide anything from the family, I'll take your life. Nan Liue waved her hand and slapped Nan Kong, causing him to tumble to the ground. Liue, what are you doing? Children need to be educated slowly. Night Sorrow stood up and pulled Nan Kong up. You're not young anymore. You need to be mature and not judge people by their appearance. Giving others respect is giving yourself respect. Nan Kong will always remember Domain Lord's teachings. Thank you for forgiving Nan Kong. Nan Kong bowed deeply to Night Sorrow. Go. Calm down. Next up is the Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony. Your journey is about to begin. Night Sorrow nodded at Nan Kong. After Nan Kong left, Nan Liue cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow before returning to her seat. Xiaokei, tell your grandmaster, how did that little guy provoke your father? Yu Yangyu was very interested in this matter. Yi Xiaokei rubbed his head. Maybe it's because my father and I don't dress well, so people call us poor. Puchi. Grand Elder Yi, I've never seen you wear brocade clothes. Now you're poor. Tang Qianqian couldn't help but laugh. It wasn't just her, the others were the same. Night Sorrow being called poor was definitely a big joke. It's nothing. I just feel comfortable like this. I didn't think too much about it. Children's words carry no harm. Night Sorrow really didn't care about this. Level and background aren't things that ordinary people can understand. If you look at people from outside, you're too shallow, Yi Xiling said. While everyone was chatting, the apprenticeship ceremony began. The disciples were tested one by one. Because there were more people, the entrance test was slower, but no one was in a hurry. When the sun was setting, the test ended. What was more surprising was that Nan Kong, who didn't have outstanding strength, was actually qualified to enter the sect. The apprenticeship ceremony began. It was the Medicine Valley's turn to choose disciples. What made it awkward was that Nan Kong didn't have anyone. When Night Sorrow stood up and was about to recommend someone, Lin Jingyi stood up. I haven't accepted a disciple for many years. Now that I'm accepting you as my disciple, do you dare to enter the sect? Lin Jingyi's gaze was sharp and she kept looking at Nan Kang's eyes. I dare. This disciple has offended the Zone Master. Although the Zone Master is magnanimous and won't punish this disciple is willing to accept any punishment, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Nan Kong bowed and said. Night Sorrow smiled awkwardly and sat down. He knew that Lin Jingyi was still against him, but he didn't care. After the apprenticeship ceremony, he would be leaving. Good. From now on, you will be Crepe Myrtle's disciple. You will be my disciple. Night Sorrow, it's actually very simple for me to accept him. He has perseverance, and perseverance is worth nurturing. After Lin Jingyi announced the apprenticeship ceremony, she looked at Night Sorrow and explained. Night Sorrow nodded in response. Whether or not Lin Jingyi had other intentions to accept him as a disciple, or she had high hopes for Nan Kong, he really didn't care. After the apprenticeship ceremony ended, Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands towards Yu Yangyu. Master, this disciple has to go back. Eldest senior brother, Xiaokei intends to cultivate in the bamboo forest peak for a while. Tell the other senior brothers not to be stopped outside. Okay, I'll arrange it for you later. There won't be any problems. Gong Xian nodded. Xian. Hurry up and get on the stage. K% 3-inch Xiaokei, listen to your uncle masters. There's nothing else. Go home and take a look. Night Sorrow said to Yi Xiaokei before cupping his hands towards his senior brothers. Then, his body flashed and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. How did he leave? Tao Yuan stood up and asked in surprise. I don't know either. Xiang Tianding, who was already a high king, shook his head. Xiaokei, right? What's your father's cultivation? Tang Qianqian asked. Listening to my father and mother's conversation, it seems to be the heavenly Tao Nine Emperor's tribulation. Yi Shaokei said. Elder Xiang, what level is the heavenly Tao Nine Emperor's tribulation? Tang Qianqian looked at Xiang Tianding. Xiang Tianding shook his head. I went to the celestial realm some time ago. I only know about the emperor, and emperor. I don't know about the heavenly Tao Nine Emperor's tribulation. It's probably something we don't understand. Night Sorrow left. When he reached Dan Ding City, he used the teleportation array and returned to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow, did you lose your son while walking around with him? Lin Piaomiao asked when she saw that Night Sorrow didn't see the child. Night Sorrow smiled and told her about his trip to the Medicine Valley, his participation in the sex disciple recruitment ceremony, and Yi Shao's intention to cultivate at the bamboo forest peak. Lin Piaomiao nodded. She knew that the bamboo forest peak was a quiet place suitable for cultivation. There was still some time before the nine-domain world's heavenly Tao tribulation would arrive. Night Sorrow's clone went to the lake to cultivate the limitless spear arts while his main body accompanied his family. Also, Night Sorrow had some understanding of the nine-domain world's heavenly Tao tribulation. It was the appearance of an evil world that was on the same level as the nine-domain world. If the nine-domain world's cultivators could solve this problem, then the nine-domain world would rise to the level of a great world. If they couldn't, then the nine-domain world would be annihilated and disappear in the long river of history. The existence of a world was very important to the native cultivators. This was because everyone's source of life and soul imprint belonged to this world. If the world was destroyed, then reincarnation and cultivation would be impossible. The rapid development of a world and the stability of a world were good for the native cultivators. Take the Black Dragon Sage for example. He died in battle when he was in the Saint Realm and used a few decades to reincarnate. With the help of Tai Shu Yan, Yun Tianlong, and the others, he rose all the way to the King Realm. Chapter 2070. The Realm Lord and the world they belonged to complemented each other. If the Realm Lord developed quickly, the world would develop quickly. On the other hand, if the level of the world increased, it would be of great help to the Realm Lord. Therefore, Night Sorrow was looking forward to the Nine Regions world's upgrade. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. The Nine Regions world's calamity was about to arrive. Night Sorrow brought his wives to Nine Regions City and called Yi Shaokei back. The Yi family had to participate in the Nine Regions world's war. In the Nine Regions City's martial arts practice field, there were many small camps. They were the strongholds of cultivators above the Saint Realm. Outside the martial arts practice field, there were a few camps. Those were the Saint Realm cultivators and those were the reserves. When Night Sorrow arrived, Tai Shu Yan and Yun Tianlong gathered everyone. Looking at the familiar and somewhat unfamiliar faces, Night Sorrow nodded. Everyone probably already knows about this, but it's not an official announcement. Today, I'll tell everyone the details. In about 10 days, we'll face a war. Perhaps it won't be difficult, but everyone has to participate. As a part of the Nine Regions world, everyone has to prove their existence. If everyone else has done it, what will you do? Night Sorrow glanced at the cultivators of the Nine Regions world. Pacing back and forth, Night Sorrow nodded at Wu Lingfei. In a while, the cultivators will be divided into 3 groups. The first group is at the 9th stage Emperor level, led by Auntie Fei. The second group is at the King level, led by Tianyu. The third group is at the Saint King level, led by Yi Mei. Grandpa, you'll help. Follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, you'll be ordered to withdraw from this operation. If you don't, you'll be killed on the spot. The requirement is to solve the problem smoothly and return without any casualties. Some of the people around Night Sorrow were very strong, but they didn't have the life imprint of the Nine Regions world. They couldn't participate in this operation. Long Jin, Qian Ziwei, Bei Xing, and the others couldn't. Wu Lingfei, Tianyu, and Yi Mei stood up and cupped their hands. There are still 10 days. In these 10 days, strengthen the battle strength of the group. After giving his instructions, Night Sorrow left the martial arts practice field. Wu Lingfei, Long Jin, and Tianyu all took out spatial treasures that could accelerate time. Andi Fei, you go first, Tianyu said. Wu Lingfei nodded and looked at the monarch-level cultivators who had already formed a team. In our team, trust is the most important thing. Only with trust can we cooperate seamlessly. The time for you to trust me is up. Next, don't resist my soul power wrapping around you. We will enter the space acceleration treasure and cultivate together. If you don't trust me, you can leave. The native emperors of the 9 regions world all knew Wu Lingfei and knew her character. Even Night Sorrow trusted her, so they wouldn't doubt her. Wu Lingfei's soul power enveloped the monarch of the 9 realms world and brought him into her spatial treasure. When they reached Tianyu, Tianyu smiled. Do you believe me? If you do, then we won't say anything. If you don't, then take a step back. We can still be friends in the future. If you don't trust me in battle and doubt my decision, then I won't be polite. Tianyu was very famous in the 9 regions world. Ignoring his morals, he was known for his integrity and battle strength. Tianyu brought his people into the spatial treasure. Now, only Yi Mei and Yi Linghuan were left. Night Sorrow made this arrangement not because he was worried that Yi Mei wasn't strong enough, but because the 9 regions world was developing quickly and there were many new Saint Kings. He was afraid that Yi Mei wouldn't know them. With Yi Linghuan's help, there wouldn't be such a problem. In the 9 regions world, Yi Linghuan was very famous. After making the arrangements, Night Sorrow went to the Heaven's Sealing Hall and then to the space where Mo Tianji's body was being suppressed. The origin energy of the 9 regions world vibrated and rushed into Mo Tianji's body, grinding away the Taoist rhymes and soul imprints in her body. Mo Tianji, you stole one of the bodies of my 9 regions world's cultivators. I can take one of your bodies. I can play with you. Looking at Mo Tianji's body, Night Sorrow muttered. He had his own plans and plans for Mo Tianji's body. 10 days passed and the 9 regions world's tribulation officially arrived. After the 2 worlds connected, there was a violent tremor. All the living beings in the 9 regions world could feel it. 7 Most YW New GD Chapter, J Stanza A Super Wu Lingfei, Tianyu, and Yi Mei also appeared with their teams. Time's up. Are you ready? Night Sorrow appeared in front of the team. We're ready. Everyone roared. Night Sorrow's 9 regions doppelganger appeared in front of the Heaven's Sealing Hall. He shook his arms and the energy in his body shot into the sky. Then, he separated his hands and a space-time tunnel appeared in front of everyone. I'll say it again. Once you enter, you must obey my orders. If you can't do it, don't enter. After saying that, Night Sorrow's original body entered the tribulation world with his doppelganger. Night Sorrow knew that such a tribulation world was called the evil spirit world. The red coat and blue shadow in King's team were from the evil spirit world. No one left. They all followed Night Sorrow into the space-time tunnel and into the evil spirit world. After entering the evil spirit world, Night Sorrow turned around and looked at the team behind him. This is an unknown world. There are evil spirits in this unknown world. They came to destroy the 9 regions world. What we need to do is destroy them and let the 9 regions world absorb the origin of the evil spirit world. Then, the teams of each level will be divided into 4 teams. Then, everyone will regroup into 4 teams. With this place as the base, we'll explore in 4 directions. After listening to Night Sorrow's orders, the Emperor, King, and Holy King teams were divided into 4 teams. Each team had an Emperor, King, and Holy King. Night Sorrow arranged the leaders of the teams. His original body and doppelganger would lead 2 teams, with Wu Lingfei and Yi Mei's doppelganger, respectively. Wu Lingfei's original body and Tianyu's doppelganger would lead 1 team. Tianyu's original body and Yi Mei's original body would lead another team. All 4 teams had experts. No matter what happened to a team, Night Sorrow would know immediately. The other two teams had Wu Lingfei and Yimei's original bodies. If there was danger, the doppelganger would immediately notify Night Sorrow. After the arrangements were made, the father and mother were left to guard the entrance. The four teams would explore in four directions and kill the evil spirits. Everyone knew that this tribulation was a test for the Nine Regions world. It was also a test for the cultivators of the Nine Regions world. Fighting here was fighting for the Nine Regions world. As long as they worked hard, as long as they could return alive, they would be blessed with the power of fate. Chapter 2071. Night Sorrow's main body, Yang Lei, Aoi, several senior brothers from Medicine Valley, and Yu Yang Yu were in the same team. 13. Don't worry too much about Lin Jingyi. It doesn't matter if she's targeting you or not, Yu Yang Yu said. Yu Yang Yu was present when Lin Jingyi spoke in the meeting hall and when she accepted a disciple at the square. Master, you're overthinking it. Her words in the meeting hall were harsh, but that's the truth. As for the disciple ceremony, it's not a big deal that she accepted Nankang as a disciple. Even if she didn't accept him, I would have found someone else to accept him. Nankang may seem like a spoiled brat, but which young man hasn't made mistakes before? You need to give him a chance, Night Sorrow said. It's fine if others accept him, but it's not appropriate for her to appear. It's infuriating, Hua Nan, who was also in the team, said. It doesn't matter. I don't have much to do with her anyway. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really didn't care about this matter. Master, third senior brother, you might not understand Lin Jingyi. Has she really let go of what happened between her and Night Sorrow? Not necessarily. Some things are buried in the depths of one's memory. It's something that lasts a lifetime. She might be trying to attract Night Sorrow's attention, Yang Lei said. Yeah. She's also a pitiful person. There's no need to be calculative with her. Aoi and Yang Lei had the same opinion. They were now living happily and had children. Therefore, they had some compassion for Lin Jingyi. There was no need for a daughter to make things difficult for a woman. Yes. If some things don't violate one's principles, don't mind it and let it go. Not making things difficult for others is also a kind of kindness, Night Sorrow said. Yu Yang Yu praised in his heart. He knew that this was the foundation and level. After all these years of growth, Night Sorrow's foundation and level were not something that ordinary cultivators could compare to. As the group advanced, battles began. Within this tribulation, the wretched spirit world was filled with wretched spirits, about the same number as the Nine Domains world. The world's tribulation was with Night Sorrow. He didn't care, but in reality, the tribulation wasn't that easy to overcome. According to the ancient records, the great world tribulation of the Nine Domains of Chaos, the cultivators of the reincarnation world fought for hundreds of years before they defeated the evil spirit world. There were many evil spirits, and they were also very strong. In fact, they were the reflections of the Nine Domains world. The tribulation was a process of challenging oneself and defeating oneself. Night Sorrow did not make a move as the team behind him would be enough. He only watched to prevent any unexpected incidents. After advancing for half a month, Night Sorrow attacked once and killed an Emperor-rank evil spirit. The other three teams did the same and shared the same information. As for the tribulation, Night Sorrow wasn't anxious. As the battle progressed, the evil spirit world's aura would become weaker, and the chances of breaking through the Nine Domains world would become smaller. This is a bit of a trap. We have checked the situation of the tribulations of the three great worlds in the Chaos Domain. The strongest evil spirit was at the Heaven Monarch rank. Now, even an Emperor rank has appeared. Isn't this bullying? Yang Lei said with some dissatisfaction. Our Nine Domains world will be a supreme world in the future. Naturally, the tribulation will be different. Night Sorrow laughed. He wasn't afraid of strong opponents or many opponents. Battles could solve the crisis, so Night Sorrow didn't think much of it. As they went deeper, Night Sorrow fought more and more. He was training his limitless sword art in battle. He wanted to use the limitless sword art to break through the bottleneck of the limitless attribute and push his taboo attribute to the high level. When Night Sorrow fought, most of the others were watching. They were learning the essence of Night Sorrow's battle. They fought during the day and rested at night. Bonfires, barbecued meat, and drank wine. No one felt tired. Half a year had passed, and Night Sorrow and the others had gone a lot deeper. However, they were still far from solving the problem because they had only killed 3 evil spirit emperors. There were still 7 evil spirit emperors and 1 evil spirit supremacy. After killing the 10 evil spirit emperors, they would suppress half of the evil spirit world's power. The evil spirit world would no longer be a threat to the 9 domains world. After killing all 10 evil spirit emperors and evil spirit supremacies, the 9 domains world's tribulation would be completely over. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry to solve the tribulation, but the feeling of being stuck at a bottleneck was very unpleasant. His destruction, void, and spacetime attributes were all heavenly down 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivation. He couldn't break through to the Emperor Tribulation, and his limitless attribute couldn't be improved. In other words, Night Sorrow couldn't improve. Night Sorrow couldn't solve these problems, so he could only focus on dealing with the 9 domains world's tribulation. They fought day and night, but they could still make some supplies. When they were advancing, Night Sorrow had ordered to set up teleportation formations at certain intervals. A year later, Night Sorrow's main body led the team hundreds of millions of miles deep. 2 more evil spirit emperors were killed, and they were killed by Wu Lingfei and Tianyu. On this day, Night Sorrow led the team to a special area. It was an area where black energy was surging. Looking at the surging black energy, Night Sorrow muttered, "Destruction storm. Night Sorrow, the destruction energy is so dense. It will be very difficult for us to advance," Wu Lingfei said. The core area. This is the core area of the evil spirit world. The 9 domains world's attribute is the supreme attribute of nothingness. The corresponding attribute of the evil spirit world is the destruction attribute. The venerable evil spirit should be the destruction venerable evil spirit. Night Sorrow gave his analysis. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow made another tactical arrangement. He called the other 3 teams over to deal with the problem here first. Once the venerable evil spirit was dealt with, the remaining evil spirit emperors wouldn't be much of a threat. Following Night Sorrow's orders, the other teams gathered here. Everyone looked at the area where the black energy was wreaking havoc and thought of a solution. 13th brother, the destruction energy here is so strong. What should we do? We can force our way in, but our strength will be suppressed. How can we deal with the venerable evil spirit? He must be very strong. Tianyu said. Yes, he must be an Emperor Tribulation Realm expert. We can't force our way in, Wu Lingfei said. If we can't do it now, then we'll wait until we can. Everyone, stay here and cultivate. I'll break through and then go in to kill. Night Sorrow made his decision. Lin Jingyi, who was with Tianyu's team, said, "There are only a few people guarding the entrance. If the evil spirits attack the entrance, won't our 9 domains world be in danger?" Night Sorrow didn't reply and turned around to set up the tent. "I'm talking to you," Lin Jingyi shouted. "I have to hurry up and cultivate and break through. Tianyu, repeat the rules to her." Night Sorrow looked at Tianyu. Chapter 2072. What do you mean? Lin Jingyi's expression changed when she saw that Night Sorrow didn't respond and Tianyu didn't hold back. What do you mean? Before we came in, I emphasized to everyone that we have to follow orders. Don't you understand? Tianyu's body emitted energy waves. Lin Jingyi, I'll explain it to you. It's also the last explanation for this operation. Are you worried about the entrance? Night Sorrow's 9 realms doppelganger is in the heaven ceiling hall. Do you think you can't guard it? Just do your job well and don't ask about anything else. Wu Lingfei waved her hand at Tianyu and threw out a few words to Lin Jingyi. Night Sorrow didn't seem to hear their conversation. After the tent was set up, he took out a tea set and brewed a pot of tea. He drank tea and pondered. If it was any other time, he would have opened his mouth to explain, but he wouldn't now. During wartime, if he explained everyone's problems, the war wouldn't be able to continue. Besides, he felt that Lin Jingyi had gone overboard. There was a limit to everything. Seeing everyone's attitude, Lin Jingyi took a deep breath and returned to the team. Set up camp and rest. No one is allowed to leave this area, Wu Lingfei ordered. The team set up camp, but no one disturbed Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow had been thinking with his eyes closed. Yi Xiling and Tang Qianqian pulled Lin Jingyi into their tent. Jingyi, what's wrong? Yi Xiling looked at her disciple with a frown. Lin Jingyi lowered her head and didn't speak. Back then, things didn't work out. You were the one who looked down on him first and even kicked him. Of course, he wasn't willing, but it was your fault. After so many years, what else do you want? This time, when Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Realms world, the words you said at the sect meeting were inappropriate. It's just that he didn't care. Yi Xiling was a little agitated and almost shouted at Lin Jingyi. Master, didn't he also say that I was right? Lin Jingyi said. That's because he gave you face and didn't want to refute. He was born in the Medicine Valley. Do you have to tie him to the Medicine Valley? He was also from the Yi clan of the Grand Pure region. Had he ever asked about the development of the Yi clan's Night Moon dynasty? Do you know that this is moral kidnapping? If Night Sorrow didn't say that what you said made sense, do you think the elders of the Medicine Valley wouldn't refute you? Then you will be slapped in the face in public. Yi Xiling was very angry. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow's magnanimity, then your words would have caused Night Sorrow to withdraw from Medicine Valley. You can think about how serious the problem is. Besides, Nankang's perseverance is not bad, but no one will take him in. What do you mean? What right do you have to not give face to Night Sorrow? You've crossed the line. Tang Qianqian's face darkened. Although Lin Jingyi was her junior sister, she was grateful to Night Sorrow for everything he had brought to Medicine Valley. Jingyi, Night Sorrow's reputation and virtue are not to be blasphemed or questioned. If you insist on trying, then you will lose your reputation. The signs have already appeared today. Yi Xiling glanced at Lin Jingyi, then turned and left the tent. She was a little disappointed in Lin Jingyi. Tang Qianqian didn't say anything else. She had nothing to say. She had said what she needed to say. Everyone's path and fate were different. Lin Jingyi had to walk her own path. Night Sorrow thought for a while and made a decision to break through to the Imperial Tribulation for the time being. He had some understanding. The infinite attribute was related to the level of the forbidden attribute. The heavenly Tao wouldn't help him so easily. It was harder to take that step than to break through to the Imperial Tribulation. After making the decision, Night Sorrow called Wu Lingfei, Tianyu, and Yi Mei to his side. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion for a while. You guys lead the team. Rules are rules. After saying that, Night Sorrow flashed into the destructive energy storm and released the Haotian godly pagoda. His original body sat at the top and comprehended the destruction attributes momentum of heaven and earth in the acceleration of time. While his original body was meditating, Night Sorrow's doppelganger was cultivating the spear technique beside the Haotian godly pagoda. The spear technique was no longer the infinite spear technique, but the destruction spear technique. Yi Shang had split the heavenly sword technique and cultivated it separately. Previously, he had cultivated the limitless spear technique, which was based on the limitless element. Now, he planned to break through to the Imperial Tribulation. In this environment, the most suitable element to cultivate was the destruction element. Wu Lingfei looked at the shadow of the Haotian godly pagoda in the destructive energy storm. Then, she turned to look at Lin Jingyi, who had just walked out of the tent. Her eyes flashed with killing intent. The killing intent in her eyes made Lin Jingyi take a step back. She knew that Wu Lingfei wanted to kill her. If she said anything inappropriate, Wu Lingfei wouldn't be polite to her. Liyue, take the teleportation array and go back to get some supplies. If a brother dies in battle, then there's nothing to say. However, we have to live a good life. We can't stop drinking good wine, Tianyu said to Nan Liyue. Night Sorrow cultivated, and the others also began to cultivate. This was a good place. In the acceleration of time, Night Sorrow attacked the destruction attribute's momentum with all his strength. He was just a little bit away from perfection. This little bit might be able to break through in an instant, but it might take a lot of time to grind it down. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow was in a very focused state. Tianyu, we should go to the Heaven's Ceiling Palace and ask 13th brother if we should send some people to guard this place and some to continue killing all these evil spirits, Yimei said. It's better not to disturb 13th brother. In fact, this is the key to the problem. If we win here, we can just kill the leader of the evil spirits, Lord Evil Spirit. If we can't kill Lord Evil Spirit, then it's useless no matter how great our achievements are elsewhere, Tianyu said. You're right. You're not as brainless as before. Yimei patted Tianyu's shoulder. Haha. Thank you for the compliment. It's too hard for you to praise me, Tianyu said with a smile. He was too familiar with Yimei. In the past years, Yimei had never been polite to him. She had never praised him at all. Time slipped away bit by bit. However, no one was in a hurry, and there were no other voices. Lin Jingyi stayed in the tent every day and didn't come out. When she came out, no one gave her a good attitude. She had offended the members of the God-slaying team, as well as the majority of the team. In the blink of an eye, 4 years had passed. Night Sorrow hadn't come out for 4 years. He had been cultivating in the acceleration of time for more than 100 years. He had been studying the destruction attribute's momentum all this time. Early in the morning, when everyone had just woken up from their meditation, the sound of rolling thunder came from the destruction attribute's energy storm. Cool unspecified currency E-Smith. E-Net, forever free E-Fee%D. At this time, Night Sorrow appeared. The black energy cloud above his head moved with his body. Chapter 2073. Night Sorrow's main body moved some distance before stopping. He kept looking at the sky. He knew that the lightning tribulation this time would be much stronger than the previous 9 Emperor's tribulations. This was because it was an Emperor's tribulation, which was on a different level. Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to undergo the tribulation, the cultivators of the 9-domain world became serious. This was related to the success or failure of the 9-domain world's tribulation. There could not be any mistakes, so they had to be alert. Night Sorrow, what are the chances of Supremacy Evil Spirit appearing? Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Very likely. Supremacy Evil Spirit is the name given by the 9-domain world's origin. Supremacy is naturally not the supremacy of the 6th tribulation clear heaven realm. It is the name of the world's origin. The 9-domain origin, world of reincarnation, and celestial realm's origin all call themselves supremacy. Supremacy Evil Spirit is a product of the evil spirit world. He has some of the evil spirit world's origin power in his body. He will sense the heavenly tribulation, so he will definitely come out. He won't dare to interrupt my tribulation, but he will attack everyone while I'm undergoing the tribulation. When I'm weak after the tribulation, he will definitely take advantage of me, Night Sorrow said. At this time, the lightning tribulation began. It was a destructive lightning tribulation. The lightning tribulation began to attack Night Sorrow's main body. It's safest to undergo the tribulation in the 9-domain world, but the lightning tribulation is too fast. Aunt Fei, if there is an uncontrollable situation, use the spatial treasure to bring everyone back to the 9-domain world. Night Sorrow's doppelganger stood in place. He did not want to take the risk. He felt that even if Supremacy Evil Spirit was strong, he would have no problem retreating. However, the team was different. If they were attacked by Supremacy Evil Spirit, they would inevitably be injured. You can do it. Wu Lingfei nodded at Night Sorrow. Supremacy Evil Spirit's cultivation is the same as mine. The reason why I chose to increase my cultivation before fighting is because he has the geographical advantage in the destructive energy storm. If he comes out, my doppelganger can fight, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's avatar chatted with Wu Lingfei while his main body underwent his tribulation. The 9-domain worlds team was also on alert. The thunder tribulation continuously bombarded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used the virtuous immortal body, and the reincarnation spear continuously attacked the thunder tribulation. This power is too strong. If we get caught up in it, we'll be killed, Yi Mei said as she watched Night Sorrow and the thunder retribution clash. That's something we don't understand. The Imperial Tribulation is the highest level of cultivators in the celestial realm, Wu Lingfei said. When the 5th wave of lightning tribulation arrived, the destructive energy storm let out a long howl. As the long howl faded, a red-robed man with loose black hair appeared. Night Sorrow's doppelganger held the blood-Chilan evil punishing spear and stood at the front of the group. I didn't pay attention to you guys because I thought it wouldn't matter if you jumped, but I didn't expect you to undergo the Imperial Tribulation before me. Then, I can only kill you in advance and then unify your world. No, that should be my world, the red-robed man with black hair said. He was the king of the evil spirit world, Supremacy Evil Spirit. He was also the realm master of the evil spirit world. You said it. If it's useful, then we don't have to work so hard to cultivate, Night Sorrow said. It's useless to talk. Fight. Supremacy Evil Spirit stretched out his arm and a blood-red saber appeared in his hand. Then, he waved the saber and slashed at Night Sorrow. The saber was black and red. It wasn't just destructive energy. It was a combination of destructive energy, fire attribute, and water attribute. Night Sorrow waved the blood-Chilan evil punishing spear, and the forbidden reincarnation attribute energy was poured into the blood-Chilan evil punishing spear. Bang! With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow and Supremacy Evil Spirit were evenly matched. At the same time, their expressions changed. Night Sorrow used the virtuous immortal body's energy and the reincarnation attribute suppression, but he didn't have the upper hand. Supremacy Evil Spirit was also very shocked. Because he used the evil spirit world source energy to support him, he didn't suppress Night Sorrow's attack. After one move, Night Sorrow and Supremacy Evil Spirit were facing each other. Night Sorrow smiled. He understood why he didn't have the upper hand. It was because the evil spirit world source energy was suppressing him. He also received a message from the 9-domain body. Next, the 9-domain body's source energy would support him and cancel out the evil spirit world source energy in his attack. In other words, both of them were realm masters. Neither of them could use the evil spirit world source energy to suppress the other. Even if Night Sorrow was in the evil spirit world, Supremacy Evil Spirit couldn't use the evil spirit world source energy to suppress him. At this time, Supremacy Evil Spirit's roar attracted many evil spirits. Among them, there were 2 evil spirit emperors. The battle started again. Supremacy Evil Spirit couldn't let Night Sorrow go through his tribulation. If this dragged on, it would be disadvantageous for him. Supremacy Evil Spirit's clone appeared. The main body and the clone attacked Night Sorrow. Wu Lingfei and Tianyu blocked the 2 evil spirit emperors. Yi Mei led the team to fight against the evil spirits. With the 9-domain body's source energy supporting him, Night Sorrow didn't fall into a disadvantage against Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body. But when the clone appeared, Night Sorrow was restricted and suppressed. At this time, Night Sorrow used the reincarnation domain. He could use the power of virtue to support the domain and suppress Supremacy Evil Spirit. However, he didn't do that. He only used the void step to protect himself. He was worried that if he used his full strength, Supremacy Evil Spirit would find that it was hopeless to kill his clone and attack the others. He could block Supremacy Evil Spirit, but the others couldn't. Whether it was Wu Lingfei or Tianyu, they couldn't block it. In addition, if Night Sorrow wanted to kill Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body or clone, it wouldn't be easy. Even if Supremacy Evil Spirit sent out its main body or clone to attack the cultivators of the other 9-domain world, it would immediately return and resolve the crisis. The battle was very intense. In the highest level battle, Night Sorrow was in a passive position. However, those who understood Night Sorrow weren't worried. This was because Night Sorrow didn't use his power of virtue. He didn't even use the space-time realm. He completely pretended to be weak and restrained Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body and clone. As for the Emperor rank battle, Wu Lingfei used the Extreme Frost World and had the absolute advantage. She suppressed her opponent and attacked. This was because her cultivation was lower than her opponent and couldn't quickly kill him. In the battle between Tianyu and his opponent, they were evenly matched. His cultivation wasn't as high as his opponent's, but he had a divine beast body. His strength and speed were stronger, making up for the lack of cultivation. As for the other battles, the cultivators of the 9-domain world had the absolute advantage. The cultivators formed formations and fought, constantly killing Supremacy Evil Spirit. Let's see how long you can last. Looking in the direction of Night Sorrow's main body's tribulation, Supremacy Evil Spirit roared and attacked violently. He knew that once Night Sorrow passed the lightning tribulation, he would completely fall into a passive position. He might even have to retreat immediately and enter the destructive energy storm to seek a breakthrough. He was currently in the 9 Emperor tribulations of the Heavenly Tao. Supremacy Evil Spirit used his full strength. His main body and clone's speed and energy attack strength increased by a lot. However, Night Sorrow's defense was still very stable. When there was danger, he would use the space-time realm. He was stalling for time. When his main body passed the tribulation, he would be able to go all out. Speak. Chapter 2074. Supremacy Evil Spirit was a little anxious. Night Sorrow's main body's lightning tribulation had already reached the 8th wave. When Night Sorrow was undergoing the first few waves of lightning tribulation, Supremacy Evil Spirit didn't arrive. However, he, who controlled the Evil Spirit realm's origin power, could sense the lightning tribulation, so he could determine which wave it was. 1 was the beginning, 9 was the limit. The Heavenly Tao's 9 Emperors Tribulation and Emperor's Tribulation had 9 waves of lightning tribulation. In other words, after the 9th wave, Night Sorrow would be an Emperor's Tribulation cultivator. Supremacy Evil Spirit had estimated that after Night Sorrow's main body passed the lightning tribulation, even if he was in a weakened state, he wouldn't be a match for him. Night Sorrow's clone was already so strong. After the main body passed the tribulation, his strength would also increase. If the main body didn't make a move, he wouldn't be able to take down Night Sorrow's clone. If the main body made a move, he would be in danger. Supremacy Evil Spirit anxiously used all kinds of trump cards and bombarded Night Sorrow. He wanted to destroy Night Sorrow's clone. That would be a blow to Night Sorrow's main body. The damage to the main body might even cause the main body to fail the tribulation. Supremacy Evil Spirit attacked with all his strength, pressuring Night Sorrow. When the clone was in danger, Night Sorrow used the space-time realm. He was still unwilling to use the virtue domain to suppress Supremacy Evil Spirit. He was worried that Supremacy Evil Spirit would attack others in desperation. The consequences would be very serious. Supremacy Evil Spirit didn't think about Night Sorrow's worries. In his eyes, only Night Sorrow was blocking his path. After dealing with Night Sorrow, the cultivators of the 9-domain world wouldn't be able to stop him. On the other hand, no matter how many cultivators he killed, as long as Night Sorrow was there, he wouldn't be able to do anything. The battle was intense. Wu Lingfei had already killed the opponent's clone. Now, the main body and the clone were attacking the opponent's main body with all their strength. Tianyu and the opponent were evenly matched. F. Most new $O chapter W, up LTE May's battle results were even more ruthless. She was fighting with her true body. With her Emperor rank cultivation, how could the evil spirits below the Emperor rank be her match? They were constantly being killed by her. The members of the God-slaying team were the same. They had good battle results and were constantly killing the evil spirits that were charging at them. After the 8th wave of lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow's main body welcomed the 9th wave of lightning tribulation, which was also the strongest wave of lightning tribulation. This wave of lightning tribulation killed countless cultivators. In the celestial realm, it was not that there were no cultivators who had reached the imperial tribulation level, but generally, no one would attempt it in advance because the failure rate was too high. This was also the reason why there were so many cultivators in the celestial realm and very few imperial tribulation cultivators. The lightning tribulation came crashing down. Night Sorrow, who had consumed a lot of energy and had to fight after the tribulation, used his virtue domain to weaken the lightning tribulation that entered his domain. Then, he attacked with his spear to destroy the lightning tribulation energy. Afterward, he absorbed it into his body and circulated his energy to refine it. Seeing the golden light flickering on Night Sorrow's main body, Supremacy Evil Spirit didn't quite understand. He didn't know what was going on, but he knew that the lightning tribulation's threat to Night Sorrow had decreased. He couldn't kill Night Sorrow's clone, and Night Sorrow's main body was about to succeed in his tribulation. This made Supremacy Evil Spirit very anxious. While attacking Night Sorrow, he was constantly thinking of a countermeasure. After thinking for a moment, Supremacy Evil Spirit understood that this matter couldn't be done. If this continued, the result would be Night Sorrow surviving the lightning tribulation and then resting to kill him. With a prediction of the situation, Supremacy Evil Spirit adjusted his tactics. His main body continued to attack Night Sorrow's clone while his clone went to kill Wu Lingfei. Since he couldn't kill Night Sorrow and change the direction of the situation, Supremacy Evil Spirit planned to kill a few experts under Night Sorrow's command first. Seeing Supremacy Evil Spirit's clone attacking Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow became anxious. Supremacy Evil Spirit still walked on the path he was most worried about. Concubine Fei, defend with all your strength. Supremacy Evil Spirit, if you dare to separate your main body from your clone, then go die. Night Sorrow's clone flashed with golden light as the power of virtue reinforced the reincarnation field. Then, he brandished the blood Qilin evil slaying spear and used the destruction true dragon art. In fact, this art was no longer the destruction true dragon art but the reincarnation true dragon art. It just didn't change the name. It was the way to use the destruction true dragon art, but the energy was already reincarnation energy. After using the reincarnation true dragon art, Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing slash also slashed at Supremacy Evil Spirit. He had to bring pressure to Supremacy Evil Spirit and make his clone come back to support his main body. Otherwise, the 9 domain world's cultivators would be greatly impacted and there would be a large number of casualties. Golden power of virtue descended and reinforced the reincarnation field. Night Sorrow's reincarnation field's power instantly increased by 30% and formed a suppression on Supremacy Evil Spirit. One had to know that increasing one's strength by 10% at the Emperor rank was as hard as ascending the heavens. Night Sorrow's sudden increase of 30% was something Supremacy Evil Spirit never expected. With his field and speed suppressed, he could only brandish his blade to block Night Sorrow's blood Qilin evil slaying spear. Supremacy Evil Spirit's reaction was very fast, but he was still affected by the negative effects of Night Sorrow's reincarnation true dragon art. His blade was a bit slower and blocked Night Sorrow's blood Qilin evil slaying spear's main attack direction. However, he didn't completely block it and the blood Qilin evil slaying spear pierced through his shoulder region. At this moment, Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing slash had reached Supremacy Evil Spirit's head and was constantly slashing, trying to break through Supremacy Evil Spirit's soul spirit defense. On the other hand, Night Sorrow's second move had also arrived. You dare to cheat. At this moment, how could Supremacy Evil Spirit not know that Night Sorrow was hiding his strength and that his main body was in danger? Supremacy Evil Spirit's clone that attacked Wu Lingfei instantly returned and started attacking Night Sorrow's back. Wu Lingfei let out a breath of relief. Just now, she was in extreme danger. She relied on the extreme cold heaven and earth to slow down Supremacy Evil Spirit's blade aura and barely dodged it. If there were a few more moves, she definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. In order to prevent Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body and clone from separating again and attacking the other members of the team, Night Sorrow's clone used all of his strength. His power domain suppression, Spear Art Absolute Art, and Soul Spirit Attack Absolute Art were all used to attack Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body. As for Supremacy Evil Spirit's clone's interference, he directly used Void Step and Spacetime Realm to dodge. Supremacy Evil Spirit's face was grave and stern. He was now in a very dangerous situation. His main body had already been hit twice by Night Sorrow's spear. If not for the fact that he was in the evil spirit world and the evil spirit origin energy had a strong recovery ability for his body, he would have been seriously injured. The clone was suppressing Supremacy Evil Spirit's attacks while Night Sorrow's main body was still resisting the Lightning Tribulation. The Lightning Tribulation's attacks were too violent. The lightning was like rain, constantly bombarding Night Sorrow, wanting to annihilate Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's main body's power domain was constantly weakening the Lightning Tribulation that fell into the domain. Then, he attacked with his spear. He had to endure it. At this moment, his energy had already been consumed by more than 80%. His situation was very critical. Night Sorrow's situation was critical, but Supremacy Evil Spirit's situation was also critical. Night Sorrow ignored his clone's attacks and didn't counterattack. He just grabbed Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body and attacked it. This brought a great threat to Supremacy Evil Spirit's main body. He couldn't win. Chapter 2075. Now that Sovereign Evil Spirit had retreated, the remaining evil spirits didn't have any combat power. They were being killed one after another. Night Sorrow's clone probed with his spiritual strength and found that Sovereign Evil Spirit had returned to the depths of the storm. He was already out of range. Letting out a breath, Night Sorrow's clone entered the Lightning Tribulation region and merged with his main body. Night Sorrow's main body didn't have much energy left. It was already very dangerous for him to endure the Lightning Tribulation. But his clone still had 60% of his energy left after fighting Sovereign Evil Spirit. He could help his main body endure the Lightning Tribulation. As for whether or not Sovereign Evil Spirit would come back, Night Sorrow wasn't worried. Since Sovereign Evil Spirit had left the range of his spiritual strength, he was also outside of Sovereign Evil Spirit's range. Although the battle was over, Wu Lingfei and the others didn't relax. They were still in a defensive formation because Night Sorrow's tribulation was still ongoing. And Wu Lingfei, it's as if these evil spirits have taken some powerful medicine today. They're completely different from before. Tian Yu went to Wu Lingfei's side and said, "It's because Sovereign Evil Spirit is leading them. He's too powerful. Everyone, stay close to the Lightning Tribulation region. Don't let him sneak attack you." Wu Lingfei was worried that Sovereign Evil Spirit would come back. She didn't have the same judgment as Night Sorrow. After all, her spiritual strength was inferior to Night Sorrow's. The group moved slightly. They were still on guard. That Sovereign Evil Spirit is too powerful. If he appears, we have to avoid him. Other than Night Sorrow, no one in the 9 regions world can stop him. Not even for a moment, reminded Wu Lingfei. That bastard, he's taking advantage of Brother 13's tribulation to attack him, cursed Yi Mei. Based on what he said just now, the reason he didn't pay attention to us while we were here is because he wants to be like Yi Shang, seeking a breakthrough. He wants to fight after he reaches a higher level. It's a good thing Yi Shang broke through early. Wu Lingfei felt lucky. As expected, the tribulation of a great world isn't so easy to pass. Also, there's nothing to learn. The tribulations of the primal chaos world's 3 great worlds are completely different from this, said Yang Lei. Don't worry. Everyone has seen the difference in strength between Night Sorrow and Sovereign Evil Spirit. As long as they don't fight in the destructive energy storm, Sovereign Evil Spirit isn't Night Sorrow's opponent. Wu Lingfei. The 9th wave of lightning tribulation lasted for almost an hour before it officially ended. As the thunder tribulation disappeared, a huge crack suddenly appeared in the space above Yishang's head. Following that, golden clouds appeared and descended towards Yishang. That was the reward of the heavenly Tao after the heavenly tribulation. The reincarnation domain was released and then withdrawn. Yishuang absorbed the heavenly Tao's reward into his domain and then pressed it into his body. Then, the clear sky pagoda appeared and enlarged. His body flashed and sat cross-legged at the top of the clear sky pagoda to cultivate. After successfully breaking through, he had to stabilize his realm and increase his cultivation to match his realm. Seeing that Night Sorrow had successfully broken through, the 9 domain worlds members let out a sigh of relief. They had all seen the battle just now. It was indeed dangerous. Clean up the battlefield and then rest in the camp, ordered Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei, Tianyu, and Yimei didn't move. They still had to guard Night Sorrow and not let the evil spirits disturb him. As time passed, everyone felt more and more at ease. This time was too important for Night Sorrow. It was the time to stabilize his realm and increase his cultivation. 3 days later, Wu Lingfei, Tianyu, and Yimei returned to the camp. They knew that 3 days had passed in the real world. Night Sorrow had cultivated in the time acceleration for a few months. Not only did he not consume any energy, but his realm had also stabilized. At this time, Lord Evil Spirit wouldn't come to cause trouble. Not only could he not take down Night Sorrow, but he would also fall into Night Sorrow's hands. After cultivating in the clear sky pagoda for a month, Night Sorrow returned to the camp. He then asked about everyone's losses in the previous battle. After receiving the report that there were only heavy and light injuries and no deaths, Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. He didn't want to see the 9 domain worlds cultivators die in battle. Brother Shirsan, when are we going to fight again? Tianyu's desire to fight was very strong. I plan to wait a little longer. After the destruction will reach perfection, my other attributes have also improved. I plan to increase them and then fight Lord Evil Spirit. As for whether Lord Evil Spirit will reach the Emperor Tribulation level at this time, I don't think the possibility is high. Besides, even if he passes the Emperor Tribulation, I'm not afraid. Night Sorrow looked at the destruction energy storm and said, "We'll listen to Brother Shirsan's arrangement." Tianyu nodded. "I'm of the nothingness attribute. I have an opportunity to break through. I only need a short amount of time. Also, my true body will be cultivating. My clone will enter the annihilation storm to capture this sovereign evil spirit. I can cultivate and deal with him at the same time," said Yishan. "I see. I was really worried just now. I was worried that if we gave Lord Evil Spirit enough time to reach the Emperor Tribulation level, it would be troublesome." Wu Lingfei said. "I understand your worries. My main body will cultivate here. Even if he comes out, it won't affect our people." Night Sorrow looked at his tattered robe and said, "Night Sorrow, you should tidy up later. You haven't tidied up these past few months. People who don't know you will say you are poor if they see you." Wu Lingfei said with a smile after noticing Night Sorrow's gaze. Andi Fei, we're not shallow people." Yishan didn't know how to explain himself after Wu Ling concubine's words. He. "Yes, but you are now an Emperor Tribulation cultivator and a domain lord. You still have to pay attention to your image." Wu Lingfei nodded. After resting for 2 days, Night Sorrow threw the Haotian godly pagoda into the destruction storm. His main body continued to meditate in the Haotian godly pagoda while his clone held the blood Chilan evil slaying spear tightly on his back and flashed into the center of the destruction storm. "My lord, the domain lord has entered the center of the destruction storm. He won't be in any danger, right?" Yi Xiling asked Wu Lingfei. In the past, the cultivators of the Eastern Profound Domain called Wu Lingfei Domain Lord. However, the term Domain Lord wasn't suitable now. In the 9 domain world, Night Sorrow was the Domain Lord. In the Primal Chaos Domain, Night Sorrow was the Domain Lord. The term Domain Lord was only suitable for Night Sorrow. He won't. He didn't enter the destructive energy storm to fight previously because he wanted to increase his chances of winning. Right now, he's fighting in the energy storm. Let's not talk about whether or not he can kill sovereign evil spirit, but at the very least, he should be able to protect himself. Wu Lingfei nodded at Yi Ling. She was very respectful to those who cared about Yi Shan. Chapter 2076. Night Sorrow's life isn't easy. Everyone in the 9 regions world should know this. No one can take his face lightly. It's impossible for anyone to step on his shoulders. Even if I don't say anything, the god-slaying team won't be able to pass. Wu Lingfei glanced at the area where the god-slaying team was. We'll tell her about this. Please be magnanimous. Don't lower yourself to her level. Yi Xiling nodded. She knew Wu Lingfei was telling the truth. Don't worry. If she doesn't target Night Sorrow, I won't make things difficult for her. Wu Lingfei gave Yi Xiling face. She knew it wasn't easy to be a teacher. While Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating, so were the members of the god-slaying team. However, their clones were idle. Other than patrolling, they were chatting and drinking together. I wonder how 13th brother is doing. Night Sorrow was more worried about Night Sorrow because he had gone out for a period of time. Don't worry. The one who should worry is sovereign evil spirit. Don't let 13th brother catch him. If he does, he'll be dead for sure. Tianyu said. True. It's always 13th brother taking care of others. Yi Mei nodded. Night Sorrow's main body was still cultivating. Since his clone hadn't returned, there was no news. Everyone could only wait. In fact, Night Sorrow's clone had indeed fought with Supremacy Evil Spirit once. Supremacy Evil Spirit's clone and main body had fought together, but they had both been defeated by Night Sorrow. It was Supremacy Evil Spirit who had run faster and escaped when Night Sorrow had severely injured his clone. After Sovereign Evil Spirit escaped, Night Sorrow didn't find him again. Sovereign Evil Spirit had completely hidden himself. He knew that there was a huge gap between him and Night Sorrow. If he fought Night Sorrow now, he would die. Although he had defeated Sovereign Evil Spirit, Night Sorrow felt that he had made a mistake. If his main body had come, Sovereign Evil Spirit wouldn't have been able to escape. After searching in Annihilation Storm for a month without any results, Night Sorrow returned to the camp. He had no other choice. If he couldn't find Sovereign Evil Spirit, he couldn't fight even if he wanted to. Night Sorrow entered the tent. Wu Lingfei and the others also came in. They asked about Night Sorrow's operation. After the battle, he disappeared. After all, Annihilation Storm is his territory. If we don't think of an effective method, we won't be able to find him, Night Sorrow said, *forever. M free_ look small $ plus say J and Annihilation Storm. The area covered by Annihilation Storm is too big. We can't effectively investigate. It's useless for others to help you investigate. If they find him, they'll be killed by him, Wu Lingfei said. Yes, this is a problem. Of course, we can wait. The 9 regions origin body said that 1,000 years is the limit of the tribulation. If the evil spirit world can't destroy the world undergoing the tribulation in 1,000 years, then the tribulation will naturally disappear. In other words, sovereign evil spirit can hide for 1,000 years at most, Night Sorrow said. 1,000 years is the protection of the weak? But that's too long. There are too many variables. It's a competition of whether we can improve faster or the other party can improve faster in 1,000 years. Wu Lingfei thought of the key problem. We have the advantage in the current situation. It's just that we don't have a good way to find sovereign evil spirit and kill him, Night Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei, Tianyu, Yi Mei, and the others didn't say anything. They didn't have any good ideas either. That shameless bastard. Yang Lei scolded. 9th senior sister, sovereign evil spirit isn't my opponent. If we don't hide, should we run out to die? No one is stupid. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that this was Yang Lei. So many years had passed, but her personality was still the same. Then we'll slowly think of a way. If he can't defeat you, then we'll take the lead, Wu Lingfei said after thinking for a while. Yes, we have to think of a way to dig him out, Night Sorrow said. He didn't have any clues now. While his main body cultivated, Night Sorrow's clone walked around the camp every day. While guiding others in their cultivation, he thought of a way to solve the problem. Time slipped away bit by bit. Every once in a while, Yi Shang would go to the Annihilation Storm to investigate. He couldn't let Senior Evil Spirit cultivate peacefully, so he would disturb it whenever he could. Supremacy Evil Spirit had gone into hiding. He came from the Evil Spirit realm, so he knew more about the Evil Spirit realm than Night Sorrow. He was currently residing in a small space attached to the Evil Spirit realm. However, the energy in the space was very poor, and there was no destructive energy to provide him with the power of heaven and earth. He could only hide. Sovereign Evil Spirit had analyzed the situation. He had fought with Night Sorrow twice. He knew that he wasn't a match for Night Sorrow at the same cultivation level. Moreover, the difference was quite large. If he was caught by Night Sorrow, he would die. The reason why he was hiding was because he was worried. He couldn't even handle one of Night Sorrow's clones. If Night Sorrow's main body and clone came, he would definitely die. Sovereign Evil Spirit also knew that hiding like this wasn't a long-term solution. It was very difficult for him to reach the Emperor Tribulation realm in this space. Not to mention the lack of energy, there was no destructive energy of the world for him to analyze and comprehend. The cultivation conditions here couldn't be compared to the center of the Annihilation Storm. This situation made Sovereign Evil Spirit feel very conflicted. However, his own safety was the most important. He really didn't dare to take the risk. If he died, he would die. In less than a year, time had accelerated by more than 30 years. Night Sorrow's nihility will of the world had reached perfection. Without any hesitation, his clone guarded while his main body began to break through. Sovereign Evil Spirit came to cause trouble? Night Sorrow couldn't wait for Sovereign Evil Spirit to come out. Once he came out, Night Sorrow would kill him. After passing the Annihilation Emperor Tribulation, Night Sorrow already understood the Emperor Tribulation. Even if he was in the middle of the tribulation, his main body could still fight. With his main body and his clone attacking together, killing Sovereign Evil Spirit wouldn't be difficult. However, the reality disappointed Night Sorrow because Sovereign Evil Spirit didn't appear. Without any good ideas, Night Sorrow's main body cultivated while his clone entered the Annihilation Storm to search for Sovereign Evil Spirit every once in a while. After Night Sorrow returned, Wu Lingfei went to Night Sorrow's tent. Night Sorrow, don't be too anxious. This tribulation has a time limit. It can last for at most 1,000 years. We can endure it. But if this matter isn't solved, it will always be a hidden danger. I don't feel at ease. However, this Sovereign Evil Spirit is determined to be a coward. It's really troublesome, said Night Sorrow. Wu Lingfei shook her head. She was also anxious. Her words were just to comfort Night Sorrow. I've thought about it. The only way is to destroy the Annihilation Storm and then clean it up bit by bit. Night Sorrow's face was filled with determination. He made his decision. Chapter 2077. How do we destroy it? Wu Lingfei asked. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and said, set up an array and push it towards the center of the storm. We'll cut and devour the storm area piece by piece. This is a big project. The storm area is so big. It will take a long time to set up an array, Wu Lingfei said. The evil spirits in the evil spirit world, including Sovereign Evil Spirit, have good fighting strength. However, they don't have a refining civilization. The evil spirits we met were not good in other aspects except for weapons. They don't even have spatial magic treasures. Now that Sovereign Evil Spirit is hiding, I can't find it. There might be an alternate space in this area. We'll set up an array to interfere with the operation of the storm. That way, we can find the alternate space. In addition, it won't be difficult to set up an array that doesn't need to attack, Night Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei didn't say anything. She knew that Night Sorrow already had a plan in mind. Night Sorrow didn't just have the idea of setting up an array. He had thought about it carefully. 1,000 years was too long, and there were too many variables. He wasn't willing to wait. Now that he was stronger than Sovereign Evil Spirit, and the cultivators of the 9-domain world were stronger than those of the Evil Spirit world, he had to seize the opportunity to solve the problem. Night Sorrow called Tai Shu Yan, Yun Tianlong, and Yi Linghuan, who had been managing the 9-domain world, to the tent. He also informed Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun. The two of them had great influence in the hearts of the cultivators in the Profound Mysteries realm and Nether realm. Now, I need array masters. They must have cultivation in array Dao above the Saint realm. You can go to the reserve team or arrange for some array masters to come over. Array masters are relatively weak in fighting strength and are prone to dying in battle. It's better if you send your avatars, Night Sorrow said. Tai Shu Yan and the others went to handle the matter. Yi Shan took out an array diagram and looked at it carefully. This was a spacetime array diagram that he had newly researched. The array's effect was to stabilize space and produce some fluctuations. Within the array's area of influence, there would be some undercurrents of space energy. Even alternate spaces wouldn't be able to hide themselves and would be exposed by the spacetime energy fluctuations. After the formation masters gathered, Night Sorrow walked out of the tent and cupped his hands towards one of them. He was very familiar with this person. It was Tianji Tower's formation master, He Shang. Night Sorrow took out the array diagram and called for 2 members of the God-slaying team to hold it up. Then, he explained the principles of array Dao to the array master, as well as the simplest way to set up the array. Night Sorrow had spent a lot of effort on the space-time wave array. He had used the simplest method to set up a high-level array formation. After he finished talking, Night Sorrow began to arrange for everyone to have a look. Free of 4 fees. Look at T small. Say. For you, the most difficult part is that you can't move freely in this storm of destructive energy. Therefore, I will refine some defensive array discs that can resist the attack of the destructive energy. In addition, you can rest and recuperate in the array that has been set up before you continue to set up the array, Night Sorrow said. All the formation masters bowed. The cultivators of the 9 domains world all knew that Domain Master Night Sorrow was not only extremely powerful in battle, but he also had extremely profound attainments in alchemy, weapon refinement, and formation Dao. That's good. You all go and familiarize yourselves with the array diagram first. Then, split into several small teams, Night Sorrow instructed. Then, he left in a flash to refine the array discs. Refining the defensive array discs was not difficult for Night Sorrow. It was just a spacetime array that could stabilize the small space around the cultivator. While the formation masters were studying the array diagram, Night Sorrow went to the 8-dragon cauldron and began to refine the array discs. He did not lack materials. He just needed to refine them. 1 month had passed in the real world. Night Sorrow left the 8-dragon cauldron and went to the formation master's camp. Then, he handed over 200 array discs to Tai Shu Yan and distributed them. After the array discs are activated, they can protect a small space around the body. This space is enough for self-defense when setting up the array. At other times, you can retreat into the array and rest. Night Sorrow explained. Everything was ready. Night Sorrow brought people to start the big project of setting up the array. There were some Holy Spirit stones in the 9 domains world's Commander-in-Chief's residence, but they were mainly provided by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also began to set up the array. He set up a large vertical and deep spatial array that extended into the destructive energy storm. The others used the array he set up as a base to set up the array. The destructive energy storm covered an area of 200,000 miles. What Night Sorrow needed to do now was to use the array to cut it apart so that the destructive energy could not connect. That way, his soul power could explore a larger area. If there was no destructive energy disturbance, his soul power could explore 100,000 miles without any difficulty. In other words, if there was no destructive energy storm, his main body would be on one side and his avatar would be on the other. His soul power could cross-search. The process of setting up the array was relatively slow, but Night Sorrow did not care. It was fine as long as it could be done. Half a year later, a cross-shaped array appeared in the destructive energy storm. It directly cut the destructive energy storm into 4 parts. At this time, Night Sorrow discovered a special area. This area was the source of the destructive energy storm. It was a natural array. In the past, Night Sorrow flew in the destructive energy storm. Because of the destructive energy, he did not discover this place. There are many destructive crystals, but there is no world origin. Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei and Yi Mei, who were standing beside him. That's normal. Supremacy Evil Spirit is the evil spirit world's realm lord. The world origin must be on him. Wu Lingfei said. After breaking this natural array, the destructive energy storm will disappear. We don't need to continue setting up the array. Night Sorrow finished speaking and flew into the natural array. The natural destructive energy storm array was very strong, but it could not stop Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had cultivated Yan Wushuang's peerless array. His understanding of array Tao and array theory was very deep. Breaking a natural array was not difficult. However, he still needed some time to study it. Supremacy Evil Spirit stayed in the alternate space and did not come out. However, he still knew a little about the destructive energy storm. Because he had some world origin on him, the current situation made him very anxious. However, he did not dare to come out of the alternate space because he could not defeat Night Sorrow. After studying the destructive energy storm array, Night Sorrow appeared. He led a group of people to set up a space-time cutting array to surround the natural array. Then, he stopped moving. Night Sorrow, what are you doing? Wu Lingfei asked, puzzled. This is the place where Supremacy Evil Spirit is most likely hiding. So, we have to pay attention. My main body's space-time attribute is about to reach perfection. When my main body can come out to fight, we will break this array. When we find Supremacy Evil Spirit, we will completely resolve the 9 regions world's tribulation. Night Sorrow used a soul transmission to Wu Lingfei. He was worried that he was already under Supremacy Evil Spirit's surveillance. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow did not want to waste too much time on the 9 regions world's tribulation because there was still a war in the celestial realm. Night Sorrow also needed to increase his cultivation base. In addition, Wu Lingfei also knew that when Night Sorrow returned to the celestial realm, it would cause a big impact. Forbidden Element Imperial Tribulation cultivators were already the mainstays of the 100 Races Alliance. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.